California, you are listening to Extra Time, driven by Continental Tire from the 2021 MLS All-Star Game, presented by Target. I am Andrew Wiebe with my partners in soccer. With me in Los Angeles, the City of Angels, David Gass. From the AT&T 5G virtual studio, Calen, Carr, Matt Doyle. What's up, boys? We're back. We're in the flesh. We are live. If you listen to us via podcast, you can still do that. We support you rocking with us here.
We'll sound as far away as we always do
exactly.
on the podcast.
It'll sound actually no. We got the new mics here.
We
These
got
are the old
good
mics. These are the
mics.
studio mics. These are the ones that make you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
I'm going to sound like James L. Jones by the end of this show.
It'll be like 2 hours, so your voice might be cracking, it might be popping, you might be suffering. You know why we're here? MLS.
Doyle, you shut your
Liga MX, Bank of California Stadium, Wednesday. Coverage starts 9 p.m. Eastern. FS1, Univision, all the coverage, MLSsoccer.com, the MLS app. Let's go, guys. We got a big show coming up today. We got Liga MX President Mikel Arriola. We've got MLS Commissioner Don Garber. We're going to chat with All-Stars Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, Matt Turner, Ricardo Pepi, all stopping by our set right
Tejan
here.
Buchanan?
No Tejan. He's on a plane somewhere.
Oh, I thought he was coming back. I thought he was flying out here.
Looks like an international plane.
Oh, cool.
What movie do you think he chose?
You got to pick a plane movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's either pure action or
100%.
rom-com.
Yeah.
Those are the only two options.
Mm-hmm. Doyle, Calen, it feels a little strange to have you there and us here, but it feels good for me to be back. There are no massive gashes on my children's face that are keeping me from being a part of the show. What is your excitement level at? Give me a 1 to 10, Calen. Where are you at right now?
I'm in my living room still, but I've still managed to get hyped up for this match. And I feel like in general, All-Star has picked up over time. Each year seems to be a little bit bigger, a little bit better, and the events as well. All-Star, the Skills Challenge in Orlando was definitely one of the highlights for me, so I'm excited to check that one out tomorrow night. And then, I think it was time for a switch because we'd seen so much of this kind of going against some of the biggest clubs in the world, and we saw that, and that was cool. But I think switching it up and keeping it fresh, going to see Liga MX play against MLS, the direction these two leagues are both headed, the collaboration, competition, all that. And then as far as personnel goes, I feel like you two are the most LA guys I know, so it makes a lot of sense. And Doyle and me, maybe not so much, a little more East Coast, a little toughness to it. So we'll let you guys enjoy the sunshine on our behalf. I think Wiebe was technically the shallowy pick. You get to pick one local journalist or national journalist from your local market, and I think that's how Wiebe got in. And then I think Ricardo Pepi may have picked Gass. Only because he thought he lived in Frisco. He just spent so much time there for the GA Cups.
What's Gass's role on the hype train, you think, for Ricardo Pepi? He's the guy with the shovel just throwing coal into the furnace, right?
I'm the guy who thought of the design for the plan 5 years ago. But I got laid off by the company a year after that. So I'm not even technically connected anymore, but I still have a ton of pride.
You're still invested. Yeah. By the way, that Skills Challenge presented by AT&T, you can watch that live. FS1 and TUDN in the U.S., TSN and TVA in Canada. That is Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Nani, of course, with the Dramatics 2 years ago in Orlando. There are additions to the events going on. It's 8v8, MLS versus Liga MX. It's going to be really fun. It should be a party. We're going to be there. And then afterwards, you got the MLS All-Star Concert presented by Heineken. For whatever reason, they thought I was the right person to host this thing.
Of course.
Kate Renata, Big Boy, Andrew Wiebe. It all just fits seamlessly.
Energies, yeah.
Doyle, what competitively, what are you excited for here? You're the soccer guy. We're the hype guys. What are you looking forward to?
I'm most excited that Diego Simeone isn't coaching either of these teams because I think it's pretty clear that Atletico Madrid killed the old All-Star format. I don't know if you remember the 2019 game. Very few people do, and that's for the best. Competitively, I have no idea. And that's some of the fun with this right here is that the players, you don't know necessarily how seriously they're going to take it. It could be all fun and games, spectacular, everybody trying tricks out there, or there could be a little bit of pride come through because Liga MX versus MLS is not the same thing as the U.S. national team versus El Tri, but it's in the ballpark, right? There is some of that. That's part of it. And I'm most excited about seeing how that plays out. I do expect it to be very individualistic, which is why we all like All-Star games. But I'm curious to see.
So Liga MX.
Yeah, right. I mean, Piojo is not here, is he? But I do expect there to be some real soccer played as well. And that gets me amped because I think a lot of people have wanted to see this format for a long time. And I'm personally glad it's finally here.
And we haven't really touched on it this way, but this has never happened for anyone. Like in the last 80 years, maybe in the 30s or things like that, where it's like a league best 11 is playing a league best 11.
Yeah.
So it's not just MLS and the excitement we have, and we've all wanted to see this format. It's history globally, and I think that's one of the things that's exciting is the impact, like in Mexico. Imagine you're a Liga MX fan, and I'm a Liga MX fan, of like what an all-star team would look like, what a best 11 looks like. And then you think about the potential for what people will view it as around the world and how maybe other leagues will start to follow it in some way. So there's a lot of that. And to Doyle's point of like, we have no idea. Is like, we've never seen anything like this before in this sport anywhere around the world.
It might also not be forever, right? It may just be a thing where it goes on. And I think it could last for a while and build, and that could be really exciting to see it kind of go back and forth. But it could also end up going east to west, which is kind of the way it began. Or it could go back to an international format again where you play against some other big clubs. So I think, the sort of novelty of it all and the flexibility of it all is what makes it exciting. And, I'm going to enjoy this first inaugural version of it.
I'm looking for East-West vibes. I'm looking for 9-4. Like, come on. I'm not here to watch Walker Zimmerman like lock people down. I want Walker Zimmerman being like, you know what, guys, you handle the defense. I'm running up there. There's a header for me to win. I'm trying to go top corner with this thing. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Look, let's get into the news around the game. We'll have the interviews coming for you real soon. Mikhail Ariola will start us off. We'll go to Don Garber, then get to the players. There is big news today, and we're looking at a big poster right here that has two faces on it that we will not see in this game. Carlos Vela's right there. Chicharito's not there. The news coming out this morning that because of injury, we all saw it. I mean, Vela left in the 19th minute. Chicharito hasn't played in, 11 games now for the LA Galaxy. They are out. So is Carles Gil. No surprise there. We know he's not playing. We don't know why he's not playing, at least specifically, but we knew he wouldn't be here. And then Tejan, we joked about it, but Tejan is not here. He went on Instagram in his stories, and he got on a plane. That plane didn't go to Los Angeles. That plane probably is going to Europe, and we'll talk about that.
We have a
Revs
correspondent coming to talk.
Oh yeah, we do. We'll ask Matt Turner. Maybe he has the inside on that. Maybe there's like you have like the Friends version of Instagram stories, and then everybody. Yeah. Maybe the Revs players are getting that update. I don't know. We'll see what he says. And then on the other side of the Liga MX, they had some changes as well. Jesus Gallardo of Monterrey is out. Santiago Chaquito Jimenez of Cruz Azul in, as well as Kevin Alvarez from Pachuca. So those are the big changes. And look, you can't gloss over it. They're on the billboard. They are the stars in LA. They are the big names. Carlos Vela, Chicharito. They are the guys that obviously bridge this sort of theme of Mexico, U.S., Canada, Liga MX, MLS. To not have them here is undeniably a huge bummer, a massive bummer. It doesn't, for me, take away the intrigue of the game, but it does take away two of the most intriguing personalities in the game. And I think a lot of the people the guys that people wanted to watch, they wanted to see Carlos Vela in MLS colors do his thing. They wanted to see Chicharito after that incredible start come in and get a couple goals and score and be happy and show us that sort of personality and smile that he showed off in the first third of the season.
We wanted to see Carlos Vela burn the Liga MX team to the ground out of pure anger and energy.
And two buddies from, the Chivas days. Yeah. Link up, because we haven't seen that for El Tri because Carlos hasn't been there, and obviously Chicharito hasn't get called up for Tata in a while now. So, yeah, that's a bummer.
But the one thing about MLS is star power has never been the issue, right? Yeah. Like, it's depth when we talk about CCL. And so you talk about the people that get brought in. Rodolfo Pizarro's a Mexican national team player. George Bellow started a Gold Cup final. Reynoso, Rui Diaz. I mean, the list goes on and on. So from a soccer point of view.
Diego Rossi's Golden Boot defending. Andre Blake, of course, one of the best goalkeepers in the league and in CONCACAF.
So the talent will still be there. The excitement's still there. But
Wiebe, you're missing the point here. Imagine the headlines in Mexican media, how upset they'll be where it's like, oh, the Gold Cup, where it's not even the first team, and then you go to All-Star and MLS, Chicharito and Novella. Like, people are going to go crazy. They'll probably say it doesn't count, or it doesn't matter.
We're at the point now where we just tie our hands behind our back and still win. Is that what you're saying? All right. Let's get to some more news quickly. Captain Christian Roldan, I am going to assume, is going to be in this starting lineup, Doyle, and I have assigned you the task, as we prepare to this game, to give me your 11. You are Bob Bradley. You share a haircut. You do not share many other things. What's your best 11 or your starting 11, I should say, for the MLS All-Stars on Wednesday?
There's a difference between a best 11 and a starting 11, right? Because I'm trying to put out a team that fairly represents the league, but also is a playable team. Now, generally speaking, the All-Star teams are heavy on the center forwards. That means I got to go with 2 up top, and that Raul Ruiz-Diaz is an easy starter in that situation, and Gustavo Bo has made himself an easy starter in that situation. And I think they actually would play well together because Bo can play as a center forward, but I think he's a little more natural as sort of a shadow striker, and we've seen that this year with him and Buxa playing so well. So that's my 2 up top. It's a 4-4-2, left to right across the midfield. Daniel Shalloy at left wing. Wiebe, you said you pay me $100 for that. Check better be in the mail.
Yeah, I'm a more of a minimum guy. I mean, come on, this isn't 1975.
Christian Roldan and João Paulo in central midfield. Just pitch control matters a lot to me, and I think the fact that those 2 guys, have played so well together, they're going to lock it down for me. And then at right wing, we're going to have Nani, right midfield, really. And I know he plays inverted on the left for Orlando City, but he's going to have to bite the bullet in this one. Left to right along the back line, Kai Wagner, Miles Robinson, James Sands. I didn't want to start James Sands in a back 4, but then I had to go for the narrative because Robinson and Sands starting center backs for the U.S. against
Doyle's on the safe wavelength.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the best fullback in CONCACAF, Alex Roldan at right back. I'm going to have the Roldan brothers in the starting lineup for this one, and then Matt Turner in net.
Can I just step in here real quick? There is 0 chance that Nani is like, oh, yeah, Shallow, you want to play on the left? Yeah, that's okay. I'll go on the right. Like, imagine that conversation and how that
Are
would
you
go.
more comfortable there, Daniel? Yeah. Like,
Daniel's doing well.
He's like,
Daniel's
who's
doing
this
well.
guy?
He's having a great season. But
Yeah.
I don't know if he's up for that chat. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, hey, Twigs, that's my spot, says Nani. He wants to play on this. All reports, he wants to be in the skills challenge. I think he'll probably do the crossbar challenge. Of course, he was incredible at that. Got the winner against Atletico Madrid last time around. So, yeah, that's a good 11. How much do we care about the result, though? Like, realistically, we can get here, we'll hype it up. Yeah, MLS against Liga MX. And Rory on Twitter said, does this game have any relevance?
Can we answer that
debate?
question after we see whether or not the MLS team wins or loses? Because if they win, then it's going to mean everything. If they lose, then no, who cares? It's an all-star game.
I think it's up to the players to decide that. Like, it'll be up to see if the players turn into it. And we've seen different all-star games kick off, and each one's different, where Doyle and I were talking back on the Bayern versus MLS match back of, 2013?
2014
in Portland,
yeah.
Where it kind of got chippy. And then, of course, there was the, there was
the handshake
moment at the end. But that one actually had a little bit more bite to it.
Caleb's still
and I think there's
still searching.
There's a chance that this could have some of that bite, in which case it really does become a little bit more of a competitive measuring stick or not. But I'd also be totally down if it just went full mayhem, end-to-end stuff, goals, celebrations, all that. So I really think that's going to come down to, I don't know, somebody throws a little bit of a reckless tackle or gets a little too stuck in early in the match and things start to change. But I think it's going to come down to players to see kind of how they take it.
That's the Ozzy Alonso spot on the roster, right? Like Ozzy should have an honorary all-star spot on every year until he can't do it anymore at all, just to make sure that the game achieves that level of chippiness.
I like that.
I think it'd be a mistake for anybody to look at this and say MLS versus Liga MX, this is a measuring stick.
Yeah.
It's a measuring stick in the sense of the relationship between the 2 leagues. And that's what we'll talk about with Ariola and Garber here. This is not CCL. This is not #Leagues Cup. This is an exhibition. It's about fun. It's about drawing closer. It's about entertaining people. And that's what I hope the players come into it thinking. I want like the NBA version.
I think that's
of
what
an
you're
all-star
going to get.
game, where it's like alley-oops and just like I have a lane from 30 yards and like in training I bang these and I'm going to try to bang it right now.
Then in the last 3 minutes when the game is close, one player always decides, I'm going to try and lock someone down and win MVP. And then that's like the last thing you remember from the All-Star game. So the question is, if it's 6-5 in the 80th minute, who coming off the bench is going to be that player?
Let's let it be close. Let's not. I was watching old All-Star highlights, and I was like, oh my God, you forget some of these like MLS versus the world, like Americans versus the world, and like the East-West games that were literally 9-4.
I went to one of those.
I don't want 9-4, but I'll take 7-6.
2001.
Give me the memory.
I
Calen.
went to San Jose All-Star with my mom and a couple of friends, and it was insane. Like, I think it was like 9-6. Landon Donovan is the one where he takes off his shirt and he had the Brandy Chastain sports bra on, which is now casual. Everybody does with the tracking GPS stuff. But yeah, that was like full. Yeah, Mamadou Diallo was in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Bees. There was like a ton of.
So can I just throw in for Calen? It was 5-0, and then it tied 5-5.
Oh, was it? Okay.
And then
yeah.
Landon won it 6-5. So that's
perfect.
5-0 with the 5-goal comeback.
Even better than I remember.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Built on.
I'm looking for, like, I think 97, Jorge Campos pulled on a striker jersey and, like, banged it on Jeff Agus. Like, that's the sort of entertainment I'm looking for. Something I would never get to see in any other scenario.
Well, you guys are going to have Matt Turner on the show in a minute. You got to ask him if he's ready to do that. Is he going to finish the game at striker?
Exactly. Goalie wars. He wants goalie
Everybody
wars
wants
to be
goalie
here.
wars.
Justice for our goalkeepers.
He's not getting it. That's the MLS side, though. Dave, before we get to Mikhail Ariola, Liga MX president, and talk about this relationship and where it's going and how he sees this league and the partnership, help me out. Liga MX. People at home that don't watch the league, that don't love the league, and there's a lot to love. Who are you most looking forward to seeing?
So obviously the answer was going to be APG. So we're going to move on from that one. I think for most of these names, when you look at this roster, it's a ton of veterans, a ton of experience. Basically, it's guys that have killed us in CCL for years. And so you will know most of the names. For the young ones, it's Santiago Munoz. Yes, the goal, the dream begins right now. He's Mexican-American, born and lived in El Paso, Ciudad Juarez. He's playing at Santos, a pure striker who can do everything well. Can score in the box, find his space, but can also turn his guy from midfield and run and create chances. So it's going to be entertaining, exciting. And with the Ricardo Pepi talk, like he has said a few months ago, I'm talking to the U.S. national team pool. He's always played with Mexico's youth teams, went to a U17 World Cup final, Olympic qualifying, but we're all in the game, right? We all got to talk to everyone. So he's going to be entertaining. Guido Pizarro is the brain. He's just a player that you always want to sit there and watch. And Doyle talked a little bit about we don't know what this game will look like. So it'll be interesting to see how a guy like that who's cerebral, controls the game, handles this. And then on my last one, I'm going to go skills challenge Sambu because he was built to create for this moment. He is unbelievable. He's basically coming out on the field in a walker now and still tearing people apart. He's skilled. He's a killer. He loves it. And then my other one is Memo because there's nothing I like more than Memo Ochoa making a big mistake and throwing
pulling
it
the ball to the back of
and
the net.
El
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
What do you think? You think you got the tennis balls with the two cuts on the walker for Sambu? How's he roll that thing?
Potentially.
He's like, just play me the ball right to the feet, right between the two.
He's got that electric cart thing. He gets rolled in.
Yeah. Look, we'll get to Ariola in a second. Of course, we have more interviews coming here. And we'll get to MLS weekend as well. Heineken Rivalry Week, the beginning of. Remember, it started last week, and it will continue this weekend. So MLSsoccer.com and the MLS app is your home for that one. As far as Liga MX, Doyle, I know you're a big Liga MX guy. You got the late-night games on, tweeting about it, hitting us up in the group chat. What are you looking for Liga MX? What is this for them?
I don't know, and that's it goes back to the discussion that we had at the top. Like a lot of it comes down to the sort of the disposition of the players themselves on the field when they come out. Do they treat this as just an exhibition, or is there a little something more on it in terms of league pride? I think a lot of people assume that the Liga MX team is mostly Mexicans. It's not. There is a huge cross section. There's a huge cross section of Latin American players, including guys like Sambu and a lot of the ones that David mentioned. So I'm not sure that animosity that we see from USA versus El Tri is going to be there, but there is a sense. I mean, remember 3 or 4 years ago in CCL when I think 3 MLS teams beat 3 Liga MX teams on the night, and it was it was a clean sweep. It was a first leg, mind you. It was not for all 3 series. The headlines of the biggest newspapers in the league or in the country after that night was insulting and unacceptable. So I suspect it means something like that for these guys, but we're not going to know it before we see it. And that is like the first 5 minutes of this game is going to be a huge tell in that regard. And to go back to my guy Sambu real quick, David's making fun of how old he is and everything. The man has 3 goals and 4 assists in 540 minutes so far this year for Toluca. He has played 90 minutes every game out. He's 37 years young, my friend. 37 years young.
I love it. Doyle breaking out the underlying numbers for the skills challenge. I like it.
Look, we're waiting for Ariola. Let's get to the skills challenge. Who's the entertainer here? Obviously Sambuesa on that side. I think you have to look at him. Nahuel unfortunately, he doesn't get to shoot.
But he is an example of, you talked about the compost thing, right? Like, you're going to have a skills challenge where everything's supposed to be like, you come stand here, you do this. He comes stands here, he does this. Nahu doesn't operate that way. He never has, he never will. So I think you're in a situation where that's going to be those entertaining moments. And I've said with the skills challenge last time, what I had the most fun with was you had Vela and I think it was Jonah Dos Santos. And then you had Ache on Atletico Madrid. And watching that, watching these people at this high level just be friends and have fun and experience this together. And there's definitely a level of community in this region for these players at this high level. And there's also a ton of players who have gone back and forth between these two leagues or play national teams together. So I think that part is like how Nahu figures out how to rib these guys or get in their face. Yeah. I mean, you're hitting crosses and volleys. That doesn't mean he has to stay in goal. Like, he can do whatever he wants to do. That type of stuff I think is going to be really fun.
Calen, who's got the magic? Who's the entertainer between Nani, Pepi, Pizarro, Rossi, Rui Diaz, Zelarayan? Who's the one you're like,
I'm going Nani because he's done it before. And he just, when you watch him play, he's not the type. He plays every match. I mean, all-star, otherwise, he plays it full out. He doesn't take it easy. And he's a showman. He's got every trick and flick in the book, volley, long ball, any kind of challenge you're going to put him up to. He's got that. So he'd be the first name that jumps off to me. But then I do think I am intrigued. I think for the most part, you don't necessarily know how each player is going to take it. And surely almost none of these guys are going to be overawed by the moment. But I am intrigued by the young players specifically and Pepi and how these guys interact in that kind of group. And so when you look at Pepi and Kid Cal, even for the All-Star game, I remember watching Alphonso Davies in Atlanta when he was playing against Juventus. And he was just, I think we did a little behind-the-scenes feature of him mic'd up, and he was just having a blast hanging out. He just seemed obviously not overawed, and we've seen him go on to win Champions League and do all these other things. And I don't expect either of those guys to as well, but it will be different for them going from the club situation from San Jose and FC Dallas, where you're playing maybe young players around you for the most part, to stepping into a locker room with some of these big stars and playing against some of the biggest names. So I will be interested to see just kind of how they carry themselves. Hopefully they enjoy it, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pepi walks away with being a little bit of a sneaky star here for the skills challenge, and maybe even the game itself.
And a reminder from the last skills challenge, they did the cross and volley, and the only person who tried to bike was Chris Mueller. Yeah, because the older guys are like, maybe, but I'm not throwing my body out there, and the younger dudes are out doing it anyway in training because. I'm not going to say they don't know better, but
their backs are a little bit more flexible. So they can take a little bit more impact.
And they were going against academy goalkeepers, and now they're going against. I think it's Turner's going to do it, right?
Yeah, it's Turner and then Andre Blake on our side. I think Nahuel and
so that's a different dynamic too.
Memo's in this?
No, it's Talavera.
I could tell you because it's right in front of me. No, it's Talavera.
Yeah, it's Talavera. I mean, still. As we wait for Ariola and get to our guests here, let's turn just a little bit to MLS over the weekend. And I think the biggest result, or at least the most standout result, is probably the one in Columbus. You guys talked a ton on Thursday about what's happening to the Crew, why things are going wrong for the Crew. They're now 6 straight losses, and it is certainly not where you want to be as a defending MLS Cup champion.
And I could just say, Caleb obviously listens to the Power Rankings show, but doesn't listen to ETR because they haven't fixed it there.
Yeah, that's true. Big Power Rankings guy is Caleb Porter. But the flip side is that Seattle made history yet again. 7 days, 3 away games, the first team ever to win 3 away games in 7 days. There are a couple that have won 3 and 8 games, so it's not unprecedented. It's like it's not never happened. They didn't break the model or anything like that, but
it has never happened.
But come on, it's one day. It's 24 hours.
Talking about the history,
it's 24 hours.
Yeah.
Jeez, I'm trying to praise the Sounders, but not give them the world here. And on the flip side,
Anders, would you like to step in?
Anders would probably like to step in. On the flip side, New England Revolution have 49 points from 22 games. 49 9. They just keep winning. And when Carlos Gil went out, I think a lot of us, myself included, thought, maybe that pace is going to fall off. Maybe that is not sustainable without the guy that we've all said, and I think is pretty obvious if you watch the games, is the MVP of the league. Between these two teams, they both have a chance, and New England more in particular, to set a record, to best the points record that a team in this very stadium, LAFC, with a rampant Carlos Vela, set a couple years ago. Doyle, when you look at the Revs and what they've done and you see their pace, do you think that Bob Bradley, I'm stuck in the LAFC mode, Bruce Arena will care? Do you think he'll try to do it? Do you think he is trying to win a supporter shield, or is he just sending his guys out there and saying, this is my depth, this is my team, we're so competitive, we're going to win every game, and where does this team end up?
I think that Bruce has always been very open about the fact that he cares much more about MLS Cup than the Shield. But that doesn't mean he doesn't care about the Shield, and we're seeing that pretty clearly from how hard this team is playing every week, how willing he's been to sort of mix and match pieces, how smart he's been about and targeted he's been about getting rest for his guys, but still keeping enough of a core out there to go out there and win week after week after week. They won 8 of 9, and the one they didn't win was a draw. Like, this is an epic run that they're on, and as you said, Wiebe, they're on a they're ahead of the 2019 LAFC Shield winning pace, which is the all-time record for points and points per game and goal differential. They're not on the goal differential pace, but the rest of it. That said, the schedule's about to get a lot tougher. If you look at who they've played recently, it's not exactly Murderers Row. Their next game this weekend at NYCFC. After that, at the Union. After that, home to NYCFC. Then they have home versus Columbus, which I guess is an easy game now. But I don't think Columbus is going to treat it like Columbus doesn't believe that their season is over. Not yet, anyway. They're in a really good spot. All that said, I still think the full-strength Sounders are better. I really like. It's just endlessly impressive how well this roster has been put together, and then how well Brian Schmetzer has done with it this year. But it's really, really close.
Justify that to Revs fans who are just chomping at the bit right now.
The defense is better.
Why is it better? What is missing?
So,
is it? I mean, look,
a couple of things. One, it's champing at the bit, not chomping at the bit.
Oh my God,
and two, like the Revs defense is is very, very good, and Bruce Arena has done a very nice job of coaching up young guys like Kessler and Jones and Bai and Bell, and Andrew Farrell has been excellent since he's moved to center back. I do think that the Seattle defense is sort of a cut above that. I think the Seattle defense that was pitching shutout after shutout to start the season, that's the real version of them. And we haven't seen that in a while because they've had a ton of injuries to deal with, and Stephen Fry, it hasn't come back yet. Well, Stephen Fry is just about back, and the injuries are just about clearing up. And I think the thing that separates these two teams is that defense. The other thing that might separate them is Nico Ladero has just gotten healthy, and they keep winning with him on the field. And Carlos Gil, as you said, Wiebe, we still have no update on him. We know he's injured. We haven't seen him in about a month. We have no landing date for when he's going to come back and be in that Revs 11. So if you offer me the two teams right now, I'm taking Seattle.
I think I would have to join you with that. And I think João Paulo, we'll see him in the All-Star as well. I think he's probably the best 6 right now in the Western Conference. And then when you look at the striker position as well, the Revs have been doing it by committee, getting goals. I think they have 44 goals this season.
I mean, that committee includes two strikers with double-digit goals, right?
But absolutely, which is amazing. But I think that if you gave me the chance between the choice between those two or Rui Diaz, I'm taking Rui Diaz because I know what he's done. I know what he's done in the playoffs. I've seen that time and time again. So I think that is probably still the reason why I would edge going over to the Sounders. But New England has been fantastic. And the one thing I will say is I don't think you sell out for the supporter shield and sacrifice how your form is going into the playoffs and your legs, because we've seen in the past, you guys are sitting in Los Angeles right now. what happens to teams that really go all the way out and go all out for the Shield. Sometimes we've seen it with Philadelphia. We've seen it with other teams in the past. It is difficult to do the double. It's tough to do the double, and I just think if there's a choice or a chance,
you named, it's the reason
you
that
protect Carlos Hill, you protect Tejan.
No way.
Whatever it is,
you go for the trophy that's in front of you. If you have a chance to win the Shield, you sell out for
with
the
the
Shield.
history of the Revs and MLS Cup.
With the history of the Revs and the Shield, the Revs haven't won the Shield either.
Right, I understand that.
Doyle, you already know everyone in Foxborough.
No, you're right. You're almost certainly right with the Revs. Here's the thing: is it the same for Seattle? Because we know Seattle's won MLS Cup a bunch of times now. They've gotten there basically every year. What we've banged on Schmetzer about is you've never put together an exceptional entire season. You have never been the best team in the league from the start to the end. And, Christian Roldan was even talking about that a couple of years ago after winning 2019 MLS Cup. He was like, yeah, we haven't had a season like that since I've been here. Like, I think Calen's probably right that Bruce Arena, if he has to make that choice, and I hope he doesn't, by the way. I hope Carlos Hill is back and ready to go this weekend. But if he has to make that type of...
He might not. He has Imba Boateng.
For sure.
Come on, there's a difference between doing that against FC Cincinnati and doing that against literally any good team. So,
Ima Boateng's out here being like, "Where was FC Cincinnati last 8 years? I could have been DP right now."
But for the legacy of Brian Schmetzer in the Seattle club, I would argue that the Shield should mean more to them than MLS Cup would mean this year.
So I don't disagree with you. Just to drop in real quick, because you started this on, will either of them break the record?
Yeah.
This is the reason they won't. Because while winning the Shield, I think, will have value, neither of them will risk anyone for the playoffs to set the points record this year.
The pushback I would have on that is that maybe these two teams are doing something and building their rosters in a way that we've been waiting for teams to do for a long time. They don't have to necessarily make the choice because the depth and the coherency in which the rosters have been built allows them to do both.
I still think you're going to be in a situation where if one of them falls off and the other one is going to win the Supporters' Shield and can break the record, that they will rest people so that they're able to be at peak going into the playoffs, because why would you not focus on winning the double at that point?
My point is maybe they won't fall off. Like the New England Revolution right now, I guess there's no, as far as playoff seeding go, what's the motivation for them? They are literally 15 points above Orlando right now.
Yeah, you can't take your foot off the gas, though, in August and win MLS Cup. You can't do that. You have to play at a certain level all the way going through. And to Doyle's point, the schedule is going to get a little bit harder, and so I don't think it's going to look
if the
obvious.
Sounders...
I think both of them will want to win Shield, but I just think that there's a level of the risk you're willing to take to get there, and there's no doubt in my mind the Revs feel that way, and there's no doubt in my mind that if Brian Schmetzer ends this year 2 points behind the Supporters' Shield and wins MLS Cup, no one that he ever speaks to in person, except maybe us, will mention it to him for the rest of his life. Right?
You're going to bring it
Seattle,
up.
Yeah,
no one will care.
He's like, Cup, you're going to go back and ask him?
Probably not, but Doyle will bring it up. That's why I have to
walking around with a cup. It's like, but what about the Shield, Brian? 2 points. What about the Shield, man? That game in Houston in August, you really could have done better there.
Let's say Seattle wins the Shield and wins Leagues Cup, and the Revs win MLS Cup.
Nice.
Which one will we remember more? Who will 2021 have belonged to?
MLS Cup.
That's
you already
the
know
old,
where I'm going.
That's the old Houston Dynamo guy talking right there. That's what that is.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man. Look, let's talk Tejan. That was fun. These are two teams that, my God, it's great to have them performing at this level. Tejan Buchanan, man. It may be that the adventure is going to continue for him somewhere else. It is very likely, and I would be shocked if that adventure started now, as in him physically playing soccer in a different uniform than in the Revs uniform, because I think you said it. In Foxborough, for the Crafts, for that club, they don't need $7-10 million more than they need MLS Cup. They need MLS Cup. They want MLS Cup. Tejan, we don't know where he's going. Maybe he's going to London. Maybe he's going to Germany. Maybe he's going to Belgium. I've had a lot of people in my DMs sending me different itineraries. Being like, well, this flight took off from Boston at this time. That's roughly in line when he put out his story and this, that, and the other. the rise of Tejan has been one of the biggest stories of the year for us on this show. It's been so fun to watch. And instead of equalizing or slowing down or settling, it's only taken another step forward with Carlos Gil out. He's only become arguably more dominant. What do you think this moment, Calen, right now for Tejan Buchanan is? In his career, in his life? I mean, this is incredible stuff for a guy that, straight out of the Super Draft, and we'll let Doyle go on that rant in a second, but has just had a meteoric rise.
Well, I don't know. I don't know Tejan that well. I know he's from Brampton, and he's taken a little bit of a different path to becoming a professional, but comes from a good background. And look, I think he was at Syracuse even the same time as Miles Robinson. So I'll save also Doyle's Super Draft rant, but
he's a huge Syracuse fan too. Doyle's gonna have a big Syracuse fan.
When you look at what the Revs have done and how they've sort of reimagined this whole franchise really within the last couple of years since Bruce came in, they've really built in a really amazing way where they've gone and got DPs, they've gotten good foreign signings, they've gotten good domestic players, and it fits in a lot with the way you've seen Bruce's teams in the past, where he finds really solid players that have come through. Even when you look at Omar, De La Garza, or Sean Franklin, or these guys that have done really well for his teams in the past. And but Tejan's a special player, and we've seen his game really go up and up and up. Where just last year, I think it was, we were seeing him play as that wing back in the playoffs, and that was that kind of like coming out party where you're like, wow, this guy looks almost kind of like he can just run at guys at will, and he was just causing so many problems throughout that whole playoff run for the Revs. And then you're saying, oh, maybe that's a better spot for him because it gives him some space to build into it. And one-on-one, it hadn't really clicked for him as a winger in the past. And then just in a matter of 6 or 8 months, you look around and he's just killing Mexico. He's getting step overs. He's playing on the right. He's playing on the left. Like, he's getting important goals. He's a nuisance in the box. One-on-one, I think probably, if not the most dangerous player, one of the most dangerous players, just so shifty, so quick, and has just been phenomenal. Now, that's why I think he's not going to be around long whenever he does decide to go, or wherever he decides to go. Teams are coming in for him. And that's why there's added urgency for the Revs to look and say, same thing probably with Turner as well, to say, this is our year. Like, we need to sell out, go all in on MLS Cup, because this is really a huge opportunity. And we've seen other teams in the past that have maybe not maximized it or lost players, and then it's really hard to kind of recreate that magic. So you kind of got to get that window in MLS now when it comes, because there's so much activity in the transfer market that that moment can come and it can go pretty quickly as well.
So give us a super draft rant. Then we're going to roll this interview with the MLS Commissioner Don Garber. Mikhail Ariola, we were looking so forward to that. Decided extra time was just a little bit too much for him today, so we won't have that interview for you.
The guy's making history right now. He's running a league. He's got this event happening. I think he gets a pass.
Yeah, we were the supporters' shield, his supporters' shield. He was like, look, I'm focused on other things.
No.
Like, I'm not going to...
Down ball, just emerging.
Yeah, I know.
That was painful right there.
Give me the super draft.
No, Tejan Buchanan is just the latest example of why teams need to do their due diligence and take the super draft seriously. I mean, we saw it happen earlier this year with Daryl Dike. He went, a year ago, 3 people in the world knew who Daryl Dike was, and then he started banging in goals for Orlando City and, went on loan to the championship. And at some point, he's going to get sold for a lot of money by Orlando City. The captain of this year's MLS All-Star team is a former super draft pick. The entire back line for the Revs, super draft picks. Like, there is always talent available in the super draft, and teams just have to be engaged and willing to develop it and to put it into position to succeed. And the Revs have done that historically, have done that better than anybody else in the league. Of course, Bruce Arena's done it before. That great DC United team had a number of players who came out of the draft. That great LA Galaxy team had players like Omar Gonzalez, Sean Franklin, AJ De La Garza came out of the draft, and now he's doing it again with the Revs. It is not a surprise to see, and good luck, Tejan, in Bruges. I'm pretty sure it's going to be in Bruges.
Just the movie? You think that's what he chose?
That's what he's watching on the flight to Chelsea.
Bruges,
yes.
Watching in Bruges? Yeah,
Nice. Just the one thing that pops out to me about Tejan and a lot of the conversation that we're having, because Doyle mentioned some other super draft guys like Christian Roldan who have had these opportunities, is just playing time. Yeah. And like Tejan getting that shot at right wing back wasn't, he can be a right wing back. It was getting him on the field and getting him a chance. And so we have a lot of conversations about development and who does it well and where it works. And most of the super draft people that Doyle talked about, the DC teams, the LA teams, Minnesota, it's because they need them. And then you give them a chance and it gives players opportunities. And so that, I think, is one of the keys when we talk about youth development, especially with the academies, when you talk about FC Dallas and all these things that people kind of forget is you have to give space for those young players to get those opportunities, and you have to continue to create space. You don't sell a player and then move it on for a TAM player, and then there's no opportunity. So part of that consciousness, I think, is really exciting to watch. Wiebe's really locked in right now.
Yeah, there's some activity going on. It may be that I misspoke about Mikhail Ariola. We shall see. That's the beauty of doing it live, as they say. A lot of conversations going on over here. But, yeah, look, we talk about this all the time. There are so many different pathways to build a team, and that's sort of what I was saying about, like, the Sounders and the Revs both having the luxury of looking at this season and looking at the schedule and building up to this point and surviving in times when their stars are gone, in that they've built out teams that do pull from every possible resource. And in doing so, they give themselves opportunities to win everything that they're in. And that is what we want from teams. That is what we want from our league. That is the sort of ambition, that is the sort of expertise, that is the sort of organizational competency, let's just say, that makes everything better. And now we are going to be joined by Liga MX President Mikel Ariola. We're very happy to have him here. We did not I misspoke. That's why you don't say it early.
Yeah.
That's why you don't say it early. Mikel, welcome to Extra Time. Appreciate you being here.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's just start with the obvious. We've been waiting for this game for a long time. I wonder when you first heard, or the idea was floated to you, or you were in a meeting and somebody said MLS Liga MX All-Stars, when was that moment for you, and what did you think?
It was first one of the beginning. In the beginning of my administration, I started diagnosing Mexican soccer, and I think I found that what Liga MX was doing with MLS makes sense. Makes sense due to the fact that we have 60 million followers in the U.S., that our teams are transversal. You can see if you send Necaxa to Florida, they will have fans, and America, you don't have to say, or Chivas, whatever. No,
you could send them to Minnesota; they'd have fans.
Of course, and that makes a lot of sense for us. And after talking with Don Garber, which he's fantastic in terms of governance, business associations, generating the environment for investment, we see that MLS and Liga MX have been generating value. We have now Leagues Cup, we have Campeones Cup, we have obviously the All-Star game, and also we play here Campeón de Campeones. We had it 1 month ago with Cruz Azul. So when you generate a game or a tournament with interest from both parties, you will have a great success. And I think that we will have it this week with the All-Star game.
You mentioned Leagues Cup. It's a big part of what's happening. In your mind, in the ideal, what does Leagues Cup look like? What is the format? How do the two leagues work together to grow it out?
I think in my view, there are several teams in Mexico that do not have an international window. No, we only have 5 or 7 teams at the most with international activity. And we have been suffering 16 months from closed stadiums. And if you imagine, we have been obviously suffering with income. And this kind of tournaments are a great opportunity for expansion. Expansion is the word. I don't know the modality. I cannot say. But we have, I think, a great consensus in order to grow together.
What do you think MLS sees and Liga MX? When you sit across the table from each other, I mean, I can understand the value proposition for you. What do you think MLS is saying with Liga MX? And it kind of runs counterintuitive to the soccer side, where we're saying, we're competing against you. We want to be better than you. We have not yet got over that hump. Not in Leagues Cup, not in CONCACAF Champions League. How can these two? The future's so intertwined. What do you think MLS sees in what you're doing?
I think they see competition first, because if you play with someone which is competitive, you get stronger. Your level raises. I think that's the first issue that they see. And the other one is what we were talking about, the transversality of our clubs. I think that now the model of MLS, it's a model of game day. However, we could make it bigger with the presence of our teams. And if you see it from our side, we should be less dependent on other incomes rather than game day. Mm-hmm. No, our game day income is around 35%. Yours is 90%. So another thing that we look with a lot of interest from an MLS is the way you do governance. No, the investment rules, the legal rules, the authority of the commissioner. I think that generates a lot of investment power, and we are looking forward to increase our income from that.
We're always curious sort of what the perception is in Mexico, and you're always after a win in Champions League. You want to see the headline. You want to see the reaction. I'm curious, when you're in a meeting with executives, with the people building teams, investing in teams, and you guys talk about Major League Soccer and the level and the competition, what stands out to you? What are they saying? What do they admire? What are they thinking when it comes to head-to-head competition on the field?
I think two things. The rhythm of growth of your league is impressive. You grow 20% annually. We grow 5%. And maybe the rest, the main 5 leagues in Europe grow around 10%. So that is very impressive for us. The other thing is the development of players, of U.S. players that play in Europe. Mm-hmm. You have more than 200 players now playing in Europe. We have around 35. So that's impressive for us. And we have managed to generate another market for Liga MX, which are the sons of Mexicans that were born in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So we opened that to consider them as players born in Mexico. So that source of players for us is going to be very interesting for these years to follow.
It's going to be a big storyline. It is certainly internationally and now within the leagues. We know you have to keep going, Mikel. Thank you so much for your time.
We're very excited. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
I'm the most preeminent Leagues Cup fan in the world. I
just keep building it. We want more Liga MX versus MLS.
I love Leagues Cup. Okay?
We will, I promise.
Okay, there we go. That's a promise, folks. You heard it right here. Commissioner Don Garber joined us earlier. Let's get the flip side. Liga MX to MLS, this partnership. Time now for an AT&T 5G call to the field. It's an honor. Commissioner Don Garber. Commissioner, how you doing?
Good, Andrew. Always good to be chatting with you.
It's great to be in LA. Great to see people. Let's just start with an opportunity that I think a lot of people listening to this show would love to have from you. We're obsessed with MLS. The hosts, the people that listen, that's why we do this. The last year and a half has been interesting. What message would you have for those folks that care about this league deeply?
You know, a heartfelt thank you to start, Andrew, to you and your crew and everybody that works at the league office, to our clubs, to our supporters, those people that love our league and love the game. You know, it has been a challenging year and a half, but, like everything, crisis either, makes you better or it forces you to sort of dig deep and do the best you can. And here we are. Mid-season, it's, a year and a half already.
It's been a blur. I can't believe it's middle of the season. I can't believe we're in LA. I can't believe this All-Star game is here. We've talked about on this show a lot of times, hey, what would we want to see? We want to see Liga MX MLS. We want to see sort of this iteration from CONCACAF Champions League and now Leagues Cup and Campeones Cup. We didn't get it last year. We're getting it now. What does it mean to you to be here, to have this be the game, to have this partnership start to really come to fruition?
This is such an important market, Andrew. Obviously there's two great teams here. There's enormous passion and support for our clubs and for the league. And we've talked for years about bringing our leagues together for an all-star game. taking the next step from the Leagues Cup, the next step from the great, CCL competition that we have with our two leagues. And, what better way to do it than have this unprecedented event, the best of their league, the best of our league, Mexican players on both sides. So I think it'll be pretty cool.
What are you most excited for? What's the thing you have circled?
You just want a good game. You want to see our fans in this beautiful stadium. You want to see the city get excited for MLS being back. Not back just in the 25th season last year, but back to playing games and filling stadiums and supporting our fans and supporting our partners.
Take me into the Liga MX MLS time machine. This is 2021. We've seen what Leagues Cup is this year. I expect it to grow. I love it. I hope it becomes bigger. 2023. What does this partnership look like? 2026. What does this partnership look like?
Well, 2023, it's bigger than it is now. Arguably, we're working hard to build this alignment between our two leagues so that we can be drivers of the continued success of the sport in our region. Good for CONCACAF, good ultimately for, all the countries here that, want to be able to be respected so that it's not just about Europe, it's not just about South America, it's about our region, the United States, Canada, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. So I think you'll see more and more programming and more support. In 26, it's the World Cup. Yeah. So, a World Cup in our confederation. And boy, what better way than to bring the attention of the rest of the world to our region and show the great passion that we have in this market.
We just chatted with your counterpart, Mikhail Ariola, and he's had some interesting comments lately about what MLS and Liga MX can bring to each other. What can we learn from Liga MX? What is sort of the value proposition for Major League Soccer when you look at these partnerships with this future that is increasingly intertwined?
We still are the new kid on the block, whether it's in the region because, there's been soccer at the league club level being played for generations. And certainly you look at the strength of their big teams and their brands and the passion of their fan base and the quality of play. So, Andrew, I look at that league with respect, and I think there's a lot that we could learn from them. And then you look at what we have going on in the United States and Canada, the enormous commercial power, the beautiful facilities that we have, this supporter culture that's sort of been born just for the last 26 years. And you put two of those things together, and I think we're great partners and have a great opportunity to work together.
Does it frustrate you that we haven't been able to get over the hump in CCL? I know it frustrates me. I watch every game, and I'm living and dying, and I'm mostly dying.
I know, me too. So, it does frustrate us. But, up until this most recent year, the last year and a half, we were showing great improvement. The schedule doesn't help, and, listen, excuses are like what, right? Yeah. They mean nothing. We ought to be able to do better, and we need to have our rosters be deeper so that we're able to get through a very crowded calendar. I watch those games like you do as a fan, with pride and with loyalty to our clubs, and I'd like to see us do better.
Hey, Union, we still believe in you. Get it done for us.
Right.
And I remember a comment you made a couple years ago now, I think it was a couple years, time blurs, about MLS being a selling league. Or more of one. And at the time, that really struck me. It was something we hadn't really heard publicly, hadn't been sort of discussed in that way. And now we see MLS almost in fast forward in that sense. Selling, buying, being part of the international market. I think this summer is the most money, the youngest players brought in. How have you experienced that shift? How would you interpret it? What do you think it means for the present and future of the league?
Listen, I remember making that comment at a press conference that was at, I think it actually was here in Los Angeles. And, it was misinterpreted to being just a selling league. What it really was about was balancing the fact that we were, just a buying league. Yeah. We had very, very few player sales over the 20 years of our league's history. And now that pendulum has swung. There's been a lot of players sold, many of them young players that have come through our homegrown system. We want to be like every league that has a balance of buying and selling, that is developing players with the significant commitments that we've made in player development, but bringing in young, exciting players with the revenue that's being generated. And I think we're finding that balance. I don't think you're ever at equilibrium.
No.
It's moving, no different than it moves in every other league.
You made some commissioner picks that were on that younger side. As a fan of this league, of the game, when you think about a guy like Ricardo Pepi or Cade Cal or the players we're seeing sold, whether it be Sam Vines, and there's rumors around Tejan, and there's all these different things. When you watch those younger players, what sense of pride do you have?
You know, the pride is in how good they are. I mean, look at Tejan's goal just this past week. I mean, that was a world-class goal, and he's a young kid. He came through the draft. And obviously has enormous value in the international market. Sam, another example, had a Gold Cup run, and Pepi, who's been lighting up the league in the weeks leading up to the All-Star game. So, I look at those young players and look at how far we've come on the development side. I know it's just the beginning. So you ask the question, what does 23 and 26 look like? We're going to have dozens of players like that, and I think it's important for the league to profile them.
Do you feel, I remember when the requirements came into place, when it was, hey, it's not just you want to have an academy and homegrowns, you can do that. It's you have to. I mean, that sort of progress is honestly incredible on a world stage. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think it's attributed to the commitment and the understanding of the pro pathway, right? So it's both what we've done with MLS Next. It's these discussions we're having, as you well know, about a second league. It's this commitment and started as a requirement. Now we don't have to have those requirements because everybody's so deeply invested. And I think you can look at MLS today and know that it'll look very, very different in the years to come because there's enormous just growth in infrastructure and resources and coaching development and so many things that are going to allow us to tap into this massive market, and that market's delivering, I think, real value for our clubs, and they deserve it.
Hashtag play your kids, we're about that. The other side is there's a guy named Lionel Messi that a lot of people would like to see in this league. What are the odds? What are the odds, Commissioner?
Listen, commissioners can never be in the sports betting world, even with this great world of opening up sports betting in our country. But, what frustrates me, Andrew, and it just frustrates me deeply, right? Beckham comes in his early 30s. He was in the prime of his career, and it was, David Beckham coming here to retire. I mean, he could have played anywhere. Yeah. On loan, as you well know, controversially, right? Yeah. Deeply controversial, going back to Milan. Zlatan comes here, lights up the league, goes over to Milan, also lights up that league in parts of last year. Lionel is going to make $1 gazillion. He's playing at one of the top clubs, arguably now maybe even the top club in Europe. And if he came to Major League Soccer, it would be he's coming here to retire. And it actually pisses me off. There are a lot of really good players that come into our league at their mid-30s, where when it was only that, I could get this retirement league label. But, if Lionel Messi would come to MLS today as opposed to going to PSG, with pride we would take him. And I don't really give a hoot about what people will say about what age he comes in at because – he's a world-class player. He's going to score a lot of goals.
Putting that narrative in the trash, huh?
Yeah.
Can I get one just little bite from you on expansion, Commissioner? We always have to ask.
There's a lot of activity going on. You've heard rumors about what's going on in Las Vegas. We're not really as active in Sacramento as we were, but I've got a lot of faith in Donovan and what he's doing with the Republic. I love the market. That hasn't changed at all with me. San Diego still is a market that is in deep pursuit of an MLS partner with what they're doing with the university. We're going to, do what we can to get our 30th team, and no timetable for that, and we'll see where that goes.
All right. Thanks, Commissioner. Always
Thanks,
appreciate
Andrew.
your time.
Great to see you live after being on Zoom for so many months.
It's great to be here.
Right, take care.
35 seconds.
Walker's our spreader.
To go.
Super spreader.
Okay. We're unmuted, so
thank you very
everybody much. Silencio.
That's a professional right there.
All right, we are here with Walker Zimmerman, MLS All-Star, and
but I got to say something. I got to start with this. Listen, you're a great defender, but you're falling down the depth chart at the forward position. You were an elite goal scorer. You were pushing.
You were the late game.
You're the line leader, and now you're not even in the depth chart anymore.
I know. It's really killing me internally. But hey, look. It's tale of two halves of the season, I got a lot of games left.
If you need me to make a run, all right?
Got a lot of games left.
I
think it was like 3 and 20 games last year, so we have 14 left. Got to get 3.
There's
but now you need more than 3.
I'm not going to catch CJ and Hani right now. There's no chance of that. But
You're not in the skills challenge. I don't think there is a defender in the skills challenge.
That actually bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, I want to be in the crossing and finishing. I think that is something that is so fun for any soccer player, but I take a lot of pride when we do finishing and training.
It's not just a header guy.
No. I like, full scissors, bikes, whatever it is. Yeah.
Why is this man not in the? What?
No.
Hey, look.
You're this year's Cash Mueller.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's frustrating. They just think just because you're not in that position, you can't do this kind of thing. And
it's wrong.
It's like a center back will score a goal with their foot, and they're like, "Oh, look at the center back." It's like, dude, we play soccer for a living. We can do that.
By the way,
too.
when you say they, we're they.
Yeah, we might be like, they're
Whoa,
terrible.
whoa.
Who's the most technical center back in the league, in your opinion?
Oh man, that's a great question. James, we gotta love James Sands. Love what he does. A little hybrid player.
I'm gonna throw Jack Elliott out there.
Jack Elliott, yeah,
He's
but another guy who can step in and play the six.
Goals in the box where you're like, that is not a business center back. That is a guy who's done this
He's technical
before.
as well. Both of those guys who can substitute and play the six. I think anyone that you look at a professional level who can step into the midfield and create still is those two are at the top of the
So
list.
does this mean you're going to show up to skills challenge and just boo the entire time, the entire thing?
When guys miss, you're like, come on.
No, I think maybe we'll just have to make a little cameo,
Oh, okay.
Just wear the
Come
jersey,
in there,
the jersey underneath the button down and just
I'll have
pull it
to
off.
get a little wig and maybe dye my ponytail and substitute for Nani.
Do the reserve Steve Nash show up and pass someone the ball? Or something?
Yeah. Be a little assist man, no problem.
Let's talk Nashville. The big thing from last year to this year is the evolution from sort of a no-nonsense, we're going to be in a very solid block, we're going to defend. We had a ton of success with that. Well, we want to be something a little bit more. How is that evolution going in your mind?
It's great. I think clearly the stats will back that up. Is we've maintained the defensive prowess that we had last year, while also now adding a bunch of goals. And so I think that is a combination of a few things. Certainly the personnel who are playing very well, CJ and Hani, forefront of that attack. But also I think it's credit to the front office at Nashville for kind of having more than just a one-year plan.
Yeah.
I think they came in and they're like, okay, we know how to be a successful expansion team is to just lock down the spine, lock down the defense. Sure, we might not be as creative as people would like to see, but we're going to be a competitive team and make it hard to break us down. So we did that year one, and now they've kind of tried to maintain that in year two, but then also, you're right, evolve and build more on the creative side of things, attacking side of things. And, again, I think the stats really back that up.
Arriola, can you just give us the... Because we haven't seen enough of him in MLS to feel like we have. I don't feel like I have an expert opinion on Ake Loba anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good shout. He hasn't had too many appearances yet for us this year, but I think coming down for the second half of the season, going to be a player that we'll need to rely on in some capacity for sure to come in and create. And I think it's still kind of figuring out what the best combination is with him. Is he playing alongside someone, playing underneath? How can we get him involved more when he does come on? But he's a great guy. He's been really, really friendly in the locker room, has really immersed himself into the team, and is a really enjoyable teammate.
You mentioned that build, the solidity, the spine. You also came on and said we're a bunch of grifters, or grinders, sorry, not grinders at all. I hear that, and I think MLS veterans, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, knowing how to win in this league, you've been a part of other expansion teams as well. What do you make of what knowing this league has to winning and allowing players to be successful?
Yeah, there's certainly something to be said about experience, and you got a lot of guys on our roster in particular who have probably over 100 MLS games,
right.
And that counts for a lot. And I think it's undervalued by a lot of teams, I would say. And so when you look at Dax, Godoy, CJ, myself, Dave, Dan, all those guys are probably over 100 MLS games.
Well, with Dax,
and Dax, he really
if you spread it around, everybody
really
has an
boosts
average
the
of
average.
100.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dax. He's crushing it. So yeah, it really is helpful, and I think you bring that into training as well, and just the overall professionalism and expectations of the group, and I think that it definitely adds a lot for the team.
Do you like this format for the All-Star game, MLS Liga MX?
Yeah, it's great. I think it's going to make it a little more competitive than it has been in the past, because I think there's obviously the legitimate rivalry between U.S. and Mexico on the international level, but then also I think as you've seen the Campeones Cup and some other tournaments, you're thinking, okay, this is kind of starting to become a little bit...
It has some bites.
Yeah, a little bit of something to it. So I'm excited. I think it'll be a great match. I know that they're going to be up for it as well. But it's going to be a great test for us. And, again, still fun to play with other players from around the league that you get to watch week in, week out and respect. But I think it'll be competitive for sure.
9 p.m. Eastern is when the coverage starts. I think 9:30 is game time on Wednesday night, FS1 Univision. We have to let you go in a second, but we have to ask you about the Gold Cup and about the national team. World Cup qualifying about to start. Timing is a lot in life, and certainly in careers. The timing just didn't happen for you in the Gold Cup. Walk me through just your experience there. I mean, I felt like an opportunity lost.
Yeah, it's obviously anytime you get injured, it's just a dagger. It's a gut punch because in this profession you work so hard to get to moments like that. And, with that being said, incredibly proud of what was accomplished with that group at the Gold Cup. Really impressed with the character and resilience and fight that everyone showed. And then obviously my first thought as soon as I went down was almost doing math in my head of okay, how much time do I have before qualifiers? Can I get back? And so coming up with the rehab plan, it was always getting back at a certain time if my body would allow. And we really pushed it and worked really hard. So I'm happy with how that process went, healthy, and hopefully just put myself in consideration. And we'll be ready if I'm called on.
Hey, Skills Challenge cameo, first step to getting there, right?
That's right.
Greg, right here, man.
Greg's watching.
I got this.
Tune into the Skills Challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Boom, there you go. There's your cell.
Yeah.
Tune into the Skills Challenge.
All right, well, that's Walker Zimmerman, Nashville doing their thing. Good to see you here. Good to see
Always
you
good to see you,
healthy
Walker.
and
You as well.
and coming back. So appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys.
We have more interviews to go, so keep it rolling. Good to
Alrighty.
see you.
All right.
All right, we have
Walker, you
Miles
can leave us.
Robinson coming up for you as well. We've got Matt Turner coming, Ricardo Pepi as well. So we'll get those in a second. And, of course, Doyle and Calen will come back. We'll have the mailbag.
But, talking to Walker and, I asked him about the MLS veterans and all of that. He's been around expansion builds, obviously here in LAFC, and I think LAFC had an idea of that at the beginning. Now you look at the club and how far they've kind of fallen from that. And Walker is part of that trade. But you look at other pieces, Tyler Miller, part of that. Stephen Beitashour was on the original team. Jordan Harvey, while still part of the
Benny
roster,
Feilhaber.
was a big Lee Wynn.
Yep.
All these guys where it isn't even always them playing. It's just having that idea or having the understanding around of what a trip to New England is like, right? And then what a midweek feels like going to a weekend when you're in Texas in August. All of those things, I think, have value. And in trying to figure out the calculus of what's gone wrong at LAFC, I think that's a pretty large part of it, of the there's not a lot of people to lean on.
Yeah.
And these young guys are trying to get situated without having that experience.
And there's not Carlos to lean on anymore either. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a pretty good
For sure.
pillar to lean on, let's say. We'll get to LAFC and really dig into them in just a second. Miles Robinson is en route right now. I want to talk about what Walker said about the opportunity with the national team. And I think the important thing to remember in that timing is that just because it didn't work out in the Gold Cup, just because, let's just say, he doesn't get called into this next camp, doesn't mean he's not going to be a big part of this team going forward. It's a long, long qualifying process.
And they're going to be tight windows.
They're going to be tight windows.
And not everyone can play 3 games in a week unless they say they can, which Miles Robinson will have to answer for.
Yeah,
in
we'll
about
have to see
15
about
seconds.
that. Miles is here.
Well,
We'll let him get set here, get pulled up, and get on the microphone.
But I agree with you, and I think for Walker, him talking about it, he's still positive, right? And he still knows that there is space for him to fill into that roster and alongside maybe Miles Robinson.
All right, Miles, what's up, man? How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good.
Nice. So you're making the rounds here, and we have to ask you about your role with the national team. I don't care about the on-the-field side. Actually, I do. We'll get that in a second. I'm more interested in the post-game celebrations, man. Everybody has a role in the club. Maybe you're the sit-back-in-the-seat guy, the act-cool guy. Maybe you're the, bring groups together guy. Maybe you're the bottle guy. We saw the Instagram stories. I think you managed to stay out of Reggie's. That was probably a good move on your part. What was your role in the post-game celebrations in Las Vegas?
Miles like,
He's like, oh no!
Yeah,
Didn't expect
like,
that.
I'm just having some fun, Yeah, I don't know, just enjoying myself, standing up, celebrating to the fullest for sure.
Who was the guy you're looking around like, man, he's really enjoying himself?
It's hard to say because I think we all were really just truly all enjoying ourselves, each other's company, and all that month of hard work, grinding day in day out, comes to pinnacle of just happiness, and it was amazing.
Thank God it was in Las Vegas.
Oh,
I'm in Kansas City right now. If that game was in Kansas City, different experience
exactly,
entirely.
yeah.
Different experience entirely. How did that change your life, though? Did it change your life?
I don't know. I hope it didn't, mentally or anything like that. But obviously, big goal for me and something I'll definitely never forget. But Yeah, I still think I'm the same person.
So you're about 10 days away from World Cup qualifying. This is a huge moment for this country, for the national team, for you as well. And thinking about what that's going to look like, these 3 games in a tight window, what do you think that experience is going to be for Miles Robinson? What's going to be your role?
Yeah, I don't know, but whatever role I'm put into, I'm going to just look at it in a positive mindset. But yeah, I'm definitely honored. I'll be honored if I'm, part of it. But yeah, just trying to take, my life and career one step at a time.
Put that in perspective, though. Like, you have an opportunity to play for the U.S. national team in World Cup qualifiers in the biggest games outside the World Cup that there are. That has to be something that growing up you might have thought about, or maybe you didn't. Maybe this is like a step that you're like, oh, my God, I'm here. How do you approach that future?
Yeah, it's just something I kind of look at and I'm like, wow, this is pretty insane. Yeah, because I did look at, these games growing up. I looked at these big matches, and now I could be a part of it, and it definitely means a lot to me. But, I'll go into the game knowing that, these situations, they're not given, you earned it. So, I earned it if I get put in that situation. So I'm just going to, try to ball out.
I'm curious, it was a young Gold Cup group that came together, and a lot of people had never really been there before. Were there veterans, U.S. men's national team players, women's national team players, current, past, that reached out and people that you could lean on in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, sort of, but I think it was just the fact that all of us young players came together. I think we all, leaned on each other. It's just an inside group of guys that saying, listen, it's our time to shine. Let's go out there and prove ourselves.
Do you think you made a case to be a starter? We sit on the show and debate all the time. We're like, who's the starter at center back? You feel like you made a good case?
Just throwing it out there.
I don't know. It's not my decision to make, but like I said, I'm just trying to go out there day by day, try to, prove myself if I can. But at the end of the day, the real goal is just, to qualify for the World Cup.
Here's the litmus test in CONCACAF. Can you shut down Tejan Buchanan? Can you take him one-on-one?
Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, we both went to Cuse.
A lot of Cuse love today.
Yeah, he was my official visit, or like he.
Oh,
he
really?
Stayed he stayed in my boy's apartment. So
okay.
So you made the sell.
I got him exactly. I made
you
the
made
sell.
the sell. Nice. You're a talent evaluator.
Exactly.
You
exactly.
knew.
I knew he was big time.
You're like,
so
this is a $10 million player. You just give him 4 or 5 years, he'll be right there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Let's talk Atlanta United, because we got to hit that before you go. We were talking before Pineda got hired and Rob came in, and you guys were in a little bit of a rut, and we're like, look, what's the goal for the rest of the season? They could be playoff competitive. Well, now you win 4 games, and I have to imagine for you guys, there's a little bit of a fire of saying, oh, well, what can we accomplish now? What is reasonable to expect from Atlanta United the rest of the year? What should your fans, what should those of us that watch and obsess over this league expect?
Yeah, I think now we're kind of just, slowly getting back into that Atlanta United of, 17, 18, 19, that type of team where, we have, deadly offensive players, but we can also, lock it down in the back. But, yeah, I think our expectations are high at this point, but rightfully so based on our roster, I think.
So tell us, what did Rob Valentino do? It feels like it's been so quick. And from the outside, we don't know him that well. What's the changes?
I think just first of all, he's just, a genuine guy that he's been around the club long enough. He understands everyone personally, He's just someone we can all, fight for as a head coach and try to, win games. But it also comes, from the players. Just our mindset going into games recently, I think has been very good. Understanding what we need to do to win games. So
seemed like the vibe was right.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. It's all. I think it's a lot about, the mental aspect of it all.
Is there anybody in training, Barco, Aruju now, Marcelino Moreno, that you feel you can't shut down? Or when it's 1v1 drills, are they looking across at you being like, man, I'm about to be on the ground?
Yeah, they're coming at me and then they dribble the other.
That's for Joseph, right?
Is there anybody in the league that you look at in a 1v1 situation and think, I might have some trouble?
I don't know. I don't. That's not how I go into 1v1 situations,
How do you go
I'm
into
going
1v1?
in saying I'm about to win it.
Tell us your mindset on that. Tell us your approach. Technically, young defenders out there, Miles Robinson may be the best 1v1 defender in this league.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know I have, that first 2 steps where I think I can, get a step on most, of attackers. So I think I can, yeah.
So there's a young defender who just got called in named George Bellow. He didn't get the original call-up, though. So you're above him. How do you keep him grounded? How do you keep a young player like that from thinking he's too big?
You just got to talk to him, get in his head a few times. But, obviously he's a baller, so I'm proud of him for sure.
Joseph Martinez is back. The father is back. How does that change Atlanta United? I talked about the vibes. He seemed to be, for so many years, the guy that set that tone. How does it change what this club can be and what you guys can accomplish?
Yeah, obviously having him back is big for us. He's obviously a great player, and he's lethal in attack. But if we can just get that type of Joseph of old back, I think we got a high ceiling for sure.
High ceiling, that's what Atlanta United fans like to hear. High ceiling, that's what U.S. national teams want to hear as well. So we look forward to seeing how that progresses for you, Miles. Congratulations. We will watch you on Wednesday night. You got more of 1 week buns?
Not on Tuesday night, because defenders didn't get any love on the skills challenge.
Walker says that's not right.
Yeah, I'm not much of a skills guy myself.
Oh, so you're okay with this? Yeah. Nice. Okay, so Walker can deal with that.
Walker can take that on. We'll do 1v1 defending maybe the next time around. All right. Let you have your spot.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miles. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right. I got more coming for you, of course. Matt Turner will be with us in just a little bit, as well as Ricardo Pepi, as we're live here from the 2021 MLS All-Star Game, presented by Target in Los Angeles. Andrew Wiebe, David Gass here on location, hanging out at Bank of California Stadium. This is where the Skills Challenge, presented by AT&T, as well as the game will go down. That's Tuesday and Wednesday. Calen, Carr, as well as Matt Doyle, hanging out here. We're waiting for Matt Turner to come along. Pretty chill.
Miles Robinson.
I like that. Yeah,
that's how you stay grounded. Though. That's how you get to the top. Is like not being awed by any of those moments. But you saw the
little smirks when we asked about like the ceiling, about where this team is going. He said all the right things, like, "Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there."
Yeah, it's also interesting, about the Gold Cup, where you just look at this young team, and I still have a question mark in World Cup qualifying of none of these guys have been there. None of these guys have experienced this. Now, for Pulisic and a few people, it's negative, but for the most part, they've never been there before. But it's kind of what you're hoping for, which is they're almost naive in a we don't care. Because they know they're good, they know they're talented, and they know that this is their moment. And this is a fairly unprecedented moment of, like, you have no veterans to knock out. There are open roster spots, now less so because people have started to fill them, for these 21, 22, 23-year-old players to fill in. And Miles Robinson, I think, was talking about that with this Gold Cup, was like everyone showed up, and it was their chance to win a spot on the national team. A lot of guys did it. And I think that goes down to the mentality that Greg Berhalter and his group's been able to put together.
And we talked about timing with Walker. I mean, that timing extends to Miles as well.
100%.
I mean, he had an opportunity to then be sort of the guy, and James Sands pushed in next to him, and they seem to be a really complementary partnership. But it's fascinating to me to see where his career goes. By the way, I see Matt Turner walking in front of us right now.
And in a negative way with timing is that was Aaron Long's spot. And at this Gold Cup, he's an MLS-based player. He would have started every one of those games. I think Miles Robinson still would have got a shot next to him. But the opening didn't exist. And for Aaron Long, it's bad timing, and Walker as well.
Timing again with Miles, Tata.
Yeah.
He didn't get his opportunity.
I wanted to ask him about the Gold Cup final. But
especially beating Tata. I don't know if it necessarily felt good, but he had rosy memories of 17, 18. It's still a beautiful thing for him.
I don't know if that's totally true the way that you hear it discussed, but also when you win, you could be magnanimous, so you don't have to
you can just smirk and let your play speak for yourself. Matt Turner is with us. What's up, man? I think they got you all set up. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all set up. I'm feeling good.
Walker Zimmerman's not happy.
Why is that?
Because he's not in the skills challenge.
He doesn't deserve to be.
Wow. he says he could hack it. I hear you're not happy. At least that's what Twitter tells me.
Whoa.
Because there's no goalkeeper wars.
Well, there's no goalkeeper wars, but I will be a target in target practice. So.
Walk me through your approach to goalkeeper wars if it was going to be a thing. I watched the whole thing again from 2001 last night. It is wild. It is a trip. It looks like a blast. It looks
I'd
exhausting.
assume you have a pretty good throw.
I mean, I hope you guys saw that I threw out the first pitch at Fenway the other day.
Did see that? Shout out to my guy Willie.
I did throw.
Was that painful for you though?
Slightly, but
nice.
But it was worth it.
Okay.
It was worth it, and I was able to throw a strike. Which case, speaks highly to what I would be able to do with the soccer ball.
Which side of the plate?
It was the inside corner to a right-handed batter,
Gotcha.
low and away to a lefty.
Yeah, it's a good, that's a good spot to start.
Exactly. Got to keep it low when you got the monster there,
So let me ask you this, though, because I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Feels like a lot of goalkeepers, when they get into shootouts, are pretty good because it's all you do half the day. Like, do you think you'd be good out on the field in the normal volleys, free kicks, targets, all that stuff?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no.
Chance.
There's a lot I still need to work on in that sense. So.
Okay.
What would your approach to a skills challenge goalkeeper wars be? Would you be only throwing? How would you approach the save aspect? Give us a little strategy for if it ever comes back.
Yeah, I think for me, I haven't played goalkeeper wars since I was in college. My goalkeeper coach used to love pinning us against each other. Side volleys, volleys and throws were just like. But I could sort of give you the eyes like with a throw,
right.
so you could sort of see my body all going one way, and maybe I could even drop it onto my foot, or I could throw across my body, like the Patrick Mahomes, like a no-look pass type deal,
like the reference.
Yeah.
Sounds like,
of course, the new owners in the league, got to pay homage.
Wow, you got all of it on.
Pay attention.
Since you're on top of the news, where's Tejan going?
I will not say.
No, he's on the flight. Isn't he here?
Yeah.
I know where he is right now, but I won't say.
Wow.
That's wrong.
Okay, cool. Well, we've got a couple minutes, so let's play 20 questions.
I got a lot of people in my DMs with a lot of different itineraries telling me different places that he's going.
Okay,
right
stop me if I say it. Does the first letter of the country start with an A?
Oh, we're not playing that.
No,
We're
I'm
not
just kidding. Tejan's development, though, you've seen it firsthand. We
Yeah.
were talking earlier on the show about the Revs and what you guys have done, and last year it was like, oh, he's a wing back, and he's in the playoffs, he's just killing people. But is that the right position? He's a winger. And now he's a dominant winger,
Yeah.
and he is sort of the apple of different clubs' eye. He's the apple of CONCACAF and Canada's eye. Like, how have you seen him progress?
I think it's just like, I think he started realizing how much more athletic he was than the people around him, and on top of that, just developing more skill. Like, it's happened sort of in phases with him. So he came in, he was really raw. You knew he was a great player in college, and he did some really exciting, explosive things. But we had to get him to have a little more tactical awareness. He got his tactical awareness down. Then it was, okay, Tejan, the next level will be, okay, you need to take guys on because you can take guys on. So then he started taking guys on. Step over, see you later. Yeah. And he realized that he could take almost anyone on and get by him. But then he didn't have that final product. He would get himself into really good areas, and then maybe that final ball was lacking. So what did he do? He worked on that, and the kid works so hard, He worked on that. Now he's got the step over, picks his head up, delivers the ball exactly where it needs to be, scores the goals. And I think a lot of clubs have seen that development over the last 2 years, and that's why he's such a hot topic right now.
So he's heading out, it seems like, but that's not what I'm asking you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you watch him do his thing in this process. What do you think about yourself and your future?
Yeah, for me, just taking things day by day. I'm in a really great situation in New England right now. Throwing in a curveball, for lack of a better reference, into the equation. I don't know if that necessarily best suits me for this moment in time. I'm definitely highly motivated to get to that next level, to get to Europe and go challenge myself overseas. But I understand that it's not always in my control, and there's things that I can't force. I don't want to force things. I don't want to cause a big fuss and make a move happen. And then it be the wrong move for me, for my family. I kind of want things to be. And listen, I understand that in professional sports, it's not always going to be perfect. But just taking my time and trying to continue to get better. I still know that there's a lot of things that I have to work on to get better. And playing week in and week out every single game here in New England has really helped me to fast track my development.
Who's a bigger cheerleader in your life, your family or Matt
Andrew
Doyle?
Farrell.
Yes, Twitter Space's #1 fan, Andrew Farrell.
He's in there all the time. Andrew Farrell's the man.
Yeah,
right?
he is. That's my guy. That's my best friend. So he's definitely a big supporter. Congrats to him, by the way, for all the recent accomplishments. And I think it's really amazing what he's been able to do playing for one club his whole career, and just the minutes, the amount of minutes on that guy is crazy.
So tell me this: Revs have never won MLS Cup. A guy like Andrew Farrell's been there the whole time. What's the conversation in the club about potentially doing it this year, and what would it mean to win it for this club, for these fans, and for a guy like that?
Well, so his approach every single day is about winning. We're focused right now on winning Supporter Shield. I'd say that first. I know that like it's a less sexy trophy.
No, we had a 25-minute debate on this show about
how you guys prioritize.
So yeah, I mean, when you're in a position to win a trophy and get into continental football, you got to go for it.
Doyle's favorite player of all time, right?
Yeah.
now.
So you really have to go for it. So that's something that we've taken into the approach every single day in training, in games. The way a guy like Andrew Farrell, he can see that this team is different. It's built different than the teams of the past, and he's holding guys to certain expectation. If you guys zoom in on him in our game against DC United in the first half, just zoom on him in a couple plays and the way he's screaming at guys and holding them accountable. And then the next day, he's still the most electric guy in the locker room. He's still the guy that everyone looks to for that leadership. He's so important to the success of the Revolution.
So we've been a huge fan of you for a long time. Of course, we're a big XG podcast here. But there's highs in your career. You've been on a huge high. We have to play for you the opposite of that, just because I want to get your reaction. You can see on the screen right here, Anders, if you will
give us some analysis of what
you
think this young goalkeeper is doing in this moment and what you think is happening.
Big shot from the outside here. Great shot. Oh,
never seen that before.
You've never seen this before?
Never seen that before.
Okay. What do you think about that young goalkeeper and his potential?
So I see a young goalkeeper with his hands on his knees because he realizes that there's no netting behind the goal. Right? So, and there's no ball boys. His team is winning 1-0, and the ball looks like it's going over the goal. So he looks like he's ready to waste a bit of time to go.
Wow. It was third level when you should have only been second level.
Yeah.
This is Galaxy Brain stuff here.
All right, so that's the first part of that. Then I see a panic-stricken goalkeeper turn around and he looks for the ball to his left because he thinks maybe it hit the crossbar and it's coming out, and it wasn't there. And then he looks behind the goal, and it's not there, and it's not in the goal either. And then he goes, "Oh my goodness!" and looks up in the air. And
is the jump proper technique in that moment?
No. So this is what else happened to that goalkeeper in this moment.
Should we name that goalkeeper?
Not yet.
Okay.
So he was ready. This was his college debut. This is the first game he's ever played for Fairfield. It was an important game
Go
against
Stags.
Go Stags. Important game against a rival college, and he was a little nervous, but he had played a really strong 20 minutes. And so as he's jumping, he's gonna tip the ball over, and then he's like, "I'm feeling good right now." He's confident. I'm gonna catch that.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
The beautiful thing is it's only funny because now you are where you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Once you win a Gold's Cup, that's a joke.
Yeah.
I know. Honestly, that moment really shaped me massively, because you can go one of two ways from something like that, especially given my back. I didn't play the rest of the year at Fairfield. My coach, he's like, I don't know if you're mentally there. And after working so hard for 2 years to get that opportunity, because the thing that people have always dangled in front of me is you don't have enough experience. And how else was I going to get the experience, right? And luckily I was able to, down the road, that same year I got onto a PDL team, and 2 goalkeeper injuries later I was playing games. And I rolled that into a really good summer of 2014 that turned into a starting role at Fairfield. So, but reading things about myself online and the things people said to me and about me online then in 2014, I feel like the culture was different back then. So me reading that stuff, I realized that it was all just sort of noise and nonsense, and it wasn't really who I was. And so to be able to turn around next year and have the year that I had in 2014, which was like highest save percentage in the whole NCAA, most shutout, most shutouts in the whole NCAA. Like we were also the most boring team in college soccer history. We set a new NCAA record for 0-0 draws that year. So those kind of things, like, and then to reflect on where I had come from. Yeah. It was like sort of an eye-opening experience. So that way, as I got into the professional game, no matter what people sort of said about me, it was always kind of like more focused on myself. And that allowed me to grow, and it also humbled me massively. It allowed me to realize to not have an ego about anything you ever do. I hope you guys have seen that from me since I've been in MLS. Like, you don't really
except for your control of the strike zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty confident about your control of strike zone. So.
Yeah, but that was 18 years of baseball. You know? Maybe 18 years of goalkeeper, and we can start having a little more confidence. But yeah, just to come in and realize like where I came from, and to not have an ego, to learn from whoever was coaching me, whoever was on my team, to take little pieces from every person's approach every single day. That was a really defining moment in my life.
Well, timing is everything. We've talked about that on this podcast. That timing worked out for you. So
That's right.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
everything you've done and
Thank
will
you,
do.
Matt.
Yeah,
We'll be watching real closely, both for the Revs, Supporter Shield or Bus, I guess, and as well as a U.S. national team.
That's
I
right.
think you
Thank
have to go because I think they're taking you to Chelsea, or is it to Belgium?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
Wait, are you getting on a plane?
Goodbye.
All right.
Bye. See you guys. Thank you.
All right. See you, Matt. Appreciate your time, man. Oh.
No, but Chelsea's the boardroom right down there.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
That's fun. That's fun.
What a great guy.
Let's bring Doyle and Calen back in. Guys, we've put you on the bench here for a while.
I didn't realize Doyle was going to survive that. I thought he was going to have a full-on
what reactions
happiness
to,
heart attack here.
to
Matt
everything
Turner
that's happened since
talk about how the Supporter
since
Shield
we
is
bid
the
adieu
greatest
to you the
trophy
last
ever.
time.
Yeah.
What stands out to you guys from the interviews and what you've heard and seen?
Calen?
Doyle, after all that, this guy rattled off the Supporter Shield truther. He revealed his
I mean, it doesn't
analytics.
surprise me. No, it doesn't surprise me. But like the fact that he only cited save percentage and shutouts as opposed to non-penalty XG against, it just shows that American soccer culture has a ways to go. It has a ways to go.
No, Doyle, he's working off an SID. He's not working off of OptaStats. He's
Yeah,
talking about
We're on the
Fairfield,
second
man.
spectrum
2014.
now, my friend. Okay, come on, show some
For
respect.
sure.
It's
for
a little
sure.
bit different.
No, I mean it was
a little
fun.
different.
It did make me realize, hearing Walker and then hearing Miles talk about it, like we should have like a separate center back skills competition. I think that would in its way be maybe more entertaining than the actual skills competition. Something else to work on for the future.
Well, and to that measure, you
What does
got to
that look
go.
like,
You
though?
got to go goalie wars first, because Turner seemed up for it, and he was talking about looking one way, throwing the other. I would love to see that come back, and I think there's just enough crazy goalkeepers in the league to make goalkeepers always have the best.
Well, this is
personality.
perfect. This would have been the perfect opportunity. You have
personalities on
Memo,
this
you have Nahuel, you have Talavera.
Yeah.
Like these guys. I mean, it would be absurd in the best possible
Absolutely.
way.
So, anyways, it sounds like he's making the case for it.
We're starting this
He's
campaign
working
right
behind
now.
the scenes. And then the other big takeaways are just about the transfers or potential transfers, his ambitions, his feeling, patience, I think was the word that he used, or not trying to rush into something that may not be the best situation. He feels confident. He seems confident. He's in a good spot. But I would say similarly to the way Tajon has grown, I think we've seen Matt Turner grow in a lot of the same ways as well. So, and I think that's really what stood out to me when he talked about Tajon as well, was just how he worked maybe behind the scenes from being on the team, of how he's seen him work on these different elements of his game and growth. And if you're a European suitor looking in and you see somebody continually adding to their game or adding parts of it, and Matt said he had some things he wanted to work on and add into his game too, that's where you start seeing, okay, maybe that's where the dollar signs are coming in, because you're not just getting a finished product, you're getting somebody that, you know, still relatively new in his career as far as getting minutes at a professional level.
Do we think that there could be? Yeah, I would hope that we're past this. MLS, North American soccer in general, U.S. soccer, Canadian soccer, a perception problem at all with Matt Turner in a move to Europe, just because he kind of mentioned what has been held against him, so to speak, in the past. Could his age? Could his?
I think we're.
I don't think we are. No, there's no chance. No, there's no chance we're past all of that.
What do you mean? He won the Gold Cup. I think everyone says that there's competition at that spot, and a large majority of those people weren't willing to say that.
No, everyone understands that there's competition at that spot, and that's good. But in terms of MLS players in the public eye being considered amongst the very best at their positions, or making a move, the Alphonso Davies move still stands out 3 years later because he went directly from MLS to one of the very biggest clubs in the world. And we're not at that yet. If Matt Turner was putting up the numbers, and I'm talking about underlying numbers here, not safe percentages and shutouts. If he was doing putting up the underlying numbers in Portugal or the Netherlands and Belgium that he's putting up in MLS, he would be on the radar of Chelsea or, Bayern Munich as a starter, not as going over there to go on loan and be a backup. So I don't think we're there yet, but it's night and day compared to 4 years ago, and the amount of progress that's been made in turning this league into one that is a legitimate player in the global market has been kind of staggering over that time span.
I got a transfer alert right now, where all the good reporting goes down on the Tajon Buchanan news. Instagram tells us that Tajon Buchanan's agent is tweeting from Freiburg. They have visited today the new Freiburg Stadium. There is a picture of Tajon Buchanan throwing up the deuces, having breakfast. And I don't know. I can't tell by the hedges in the background here in the parking lot.
You don't know those hedges?
I don't know if that's Freiburg or not, but he's in Freiburg. He's Instagram storying from Freiburg. It feels like Freiburg could be the location.
Here's my thing. That is clearly a cross-cut hedge. And everyone knows in northwestern Germany, specifically, I don't even know where Freiburg is, by the way, in Germany. I literally couldn't find it on the map.
Be incredibly impressed.
Everyone knows this is the type of investigation that we do. This is the type of work we do. Also, I do appreciate that Matt Turner does have the friends-only Instagram.
I'm more hurt that
Southwest,
while Doyle and I
Forest.
are talking, Weeby's just surfing Instagram. What's up?
Yeah.
Dude?
I'm not. It was on Twitter. I'm not going to lie. It was on Twitter. I started the whole Instagram reporting, so people are just tweeting random things at me, which is the way that I like it. If you see something random and stupid with MLS, please hit it over to me. We have Ricardo Pepi here coming very soon. He is going to be our final interview of the day, so that'll be fun. And then I think we have mailbag coming up unless Anders is a dream killer. I don't. What do you think?
No, I think we do. I was also going to say we've interviewed 3 people today. Well, I don't even remember. All of them were super draft picks. Well, sorry, players. Yeah, players.
Yeah.
I don't know Mikel Ariola was a super draft pick. That's past my knowledge base.
Is that like a criteria
you never know. He
to
could
get
have played
on
at Stockton
Extratime?
College.
You have
Turner
to
was
be
not
a
potentially, but Ricardo Pepi
Turner
is
was
not
not a
one.
super draft pick.
He was undrafted. Oh, he's supplemental.
No, he wasn't supplemental.
Undrafted.
If you're supplemental, you're a pick.
Yeah. All right. We have Ricardo Pepi here with us.
He played college soccer.
Who wants to show Ricardo their hype train tattoo first?
Yeah.
Should I start that or? It's not on my arm. I'm just kidding, man. How you doing? Ricardo Pepi, AT&T 5G call to the field.
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing really well.
So can I open you up? Liga MX versus MLS All-Stars. Did you grow up watching Liga MX?
Yeah, I did actually.
Do you have a club?
Every Saturday, every Sunday, America was one of my teams.
Okay.
In the Liga MX.
So are you excited to play against Sambuesa,
Yeah,
Memo?
For sure.
Yeah?
I feel like they're big names in Liga MX, and I feel like they're great players. So
The end of the game, I don't have this opportunity. We just get the jerseys. We don't trade them. Nobody wants our jerseys. Maybe somebody wants yours. Whose jersey do you want? Is that something you're thinking about here? That you're like, man, I got to pick up.
You got to think about it.
there are some players that I do think about, just swapping shirts with. But like my jersey, I feel like, my mom already wants that jersey. So, I can't really do that.
Well, Rogelio comes up to you and says, Ricardo, I need your jersey.
No,
you say
Sambu. Sambu comes up to you.
Okay,
Ruben Sambuesa, Club America.
He comes up to you and you say, look, I'm
You
sorry.
can give your mom that jersey.
Yeah.
For sure. If that's the case, then I'll probably do it, honestly.
So this is one of those moments. We're in LA, one of the cities where it's Mexican American so much, and MLS versus Liga MX. It's about the sport in this region. What do you make of your upbringing of watching Liga MX game in and game out? I assume watching El Tri as well and playing here in this country and playing in an MLS academy, how it all came together to make you who you are.
No, I feel like it's special, especially because, like you said, I grew up just watching Mexican soccer in general. I didn't really watch the MLS when I was, younger. My family just always, they're been about all Mexican. We watched the national team and watched Mexico. I feel like this moment where it all comes together, I feel like it's very special, and I'm very excited to be here.
The dual national side of recruitment between both countries has been such a big thing recently. What do people not know about your experience, about you, about kids like you, that they need to better understand to understand these decisions, big ones that you're going to have to make?
No, these decisions aren't really just, who you choose. I feel like they're decisions who, you got to make a decision based on how you feel with the team. If you feel that the national team is just close to closer to you than the other one. I feel like that's the national team that's gonna support you at all times, and I feel like that's the team you got to go with.
How do you feel?
No, I mean I feel like recently I've gotten interest from both Mexican and the U.S. national team. I feel like at the moment I am at the MLS All-Star game, so I feel like I'm focused here, and when that decision comes, I'm gonna make that decision.
Who's got the better swag bag? Who sends better gifts? Who's more fun?
No, I mean I feel like the U.S. is, they're sponsored by Nike. I'm sponsored by Nike, so I feel like that just fits a little better.
Santiago Munoz. He's from Ciudad Juarez. He's from El Paso. Did you know him growing up?
Yeah, no, I actually played with him. And we were, I think we played for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Together?
Together, yes.
Oh,
did you guys ever lose a game?
Who scored more goals?
No, I was the striker at the moment. I feel like he was a 10, so we had a great partnership. But yeah, we played for 2 years together back in El Paso.
That's not fair. You can't be an El Paso team with two guys like that up top.
I mean, back then people didn't really know who we were, but I feel like it's great. It's great.
They know now. We've been driving the hype train, saying get Ricardo on the field. He scores goals. What has this season meant to you?
No, I mean I feel like it's a season where I've matured a lot. I've been given the opportunity to play, to start, and I feel like I've taken advantage of my opportunities. I feel like this season is one of the seasons where I got to just grow a lot as a player.
And how long is FC Dallas that spot for you?
No, I feel like FC Dallas, they've been doing a great job ever since I was 13. I feel, they're giving me the opportunity to start now, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to give me the opportunity to, go other places and just keep growing as a player.
What's it like to see Lucci now with the big team?
No, Lucci's great. Lucci's great. I've been knowing Lucci ever since I moved to Dallas, so he knows everything about me. I know everything about him. He's a great coach, and I love it.
What was it like to move at such a young age, to be sort of on your own in a sense?
No, it was hard. I feel like, I had to leave my family when I was 13 years old. I would get phone calls from my mother every single day, crying that she missed me, that she wanted me to come back. But, I knew that if I wanted to make, to the big team one day, I had to make that sacrifice.
What are the watch parties in El Paso like these days for FC Dallas games?
No, I feel like,
where are people gathering? There's a big barbecue.
Everyone gets good breakfast burritos. I've heard they're phenomenal in El Paso.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like, the food is great, but, my family in general just, they like to get together, watch some of my games. I get texts from my family every single day that, I did great, or that I scored a goal, or things like that. So, I mean, I feel like it's good.
So what is the watch party going to look like on Tuesday night?
Skills challenge.
No, they're gonna be big. They're gonna be big.
Where are you going? What's you have the top corners, more points.
No, I like the top corners. I like the top corners for sure, but also we can do it down low. So I'll go for both for sure. So
what are you most excited about for Tuesday night?
No, I feel like the game. Just the game. I mean Tuesday night. If you're talking about Tuesday night, I feel like
you can say anything.
No,
it's your interview, man. You go where you want.
No, Tuesday night. I feel like the finishing challenge. I think is one of the challenges where I'm in, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm just excited to put it up there, top bins, just score some goals, and hopefully the MLS comes out on top.
You got to score against Nahu for Club America.
Yeah, I do.
You can't let Tigres be on top.
No doubt about that. What strikers do you watch?
No,
when you jump on YouTube or you're like Lucci sends you clips.
Right. No, I like looking at strikers that I think have a similar profile, or I have similar profiles to them. I feel like Erling Haaland and Lewandowski are two of the top players that I watch video on, and I just like watching their movements. Their finishing. I feel like they're very efficient inside the box. So they're two of the main strikers.
So I've watched you play since you were 14 or 15, and you've been one of the best finishers I've ever seen at your age group. How did that come, and what is it that you think makes you great at it?
Honestly, I mean, when I was young, I didn't really play striker. I was an 8. I was a midfielder. So I think that technique comes from there a little bit. But just finishing, I'd put the work in. Every day after every training, I feel like I just do finishing drills all over the place. Just every angle. Finishing anyway. So I feel like just that hard work is where it comes from. Just staying those extra hours after training and just putting it in the back of the net.
Where do you think you made a leap this year? Like, what is it? Is there anything different about your game, or is it just simply opportunity?
No, I feel like maturity for sure. I mean, last year I wasn't really mature as I am now. I feel like right now I'm reading the game a little better. I feel like, just competing with the defenders. Before I used to get pushed around. Now I feel like, I'm better at holding
You're
up the ball.
working, guys.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the guns here.
No, I mean, I've been working and I've been hitting the gym ever since last year, so I feel like that's also an advantage a little bit.
What does it feel like for you to now be doing it with Jesus behind you and Paxton out on the wing? You, as a young group that came through Dallas, What's it feel like to have success with those guys on the field?
Yeah, no, I feel great. I mean, those were all players that I used to look up to because they were always older than me. And now that I get to share the field with them, it feels special. I feel like we have that chemistry, and it's great out there on the field.
Are you a mentor for other guys within that academy that are coming up? Do like the young strikers at the 14s, 16s, 18s, do they come and say, Ricardo, help me, man? Like, what did you do? What can I do?
Yeah, no, I feel like sometimes there are some players that out in the academy that ask me, like, what are some tips? What are you helping with? And all I say, it's just hard work. And if you have dreams, just go out there and chase them and, never stop until you get them.
The dream. You're living it, man. We appreciate it. We're loving watching you right now. Keep it going. Show now who what's up, okay?
I will.
Get yourself a goal. You have a celebration planned yet or
no?
not?
No. I will plan that tonight.
Okay. All right. Tonight. Get in the hotel room.
Be prepared.
Get the boys in the group chat. Make sure you're ready to go.
All right.
All right. Best of luck with everything, Ricardo. We appreciate your time, man. All right. We're close to finishing up here, I think. So what? We want to bring in the other guys, do a little mailbag, and
potentially. We had Ricardo Pepi on, so that's kind of like a high peak for the show. I don't know that Doyle and Calen can bring that much energy, but
I'm not sure.
But we could try.
You get to show my tattoo. It was unfortunate.
You would, though.
I wouldn't. I don't have I don't like needles.
You still got a bottle of Malort in your future, I think, potentially.
Maybe after that bottle of Malort. Maybe I'll be getting tattoos after that bottle of Malort. That's true. All right, look, you know why we're here. You know why we're doing this. If you're watching live, big thanks to you. If you're listening or watching on demand, that's awesome as well. Help us out. Rate us. Subscribe. Every Monday and Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, the podcast comes out wherever you listen to podcasts. And 7 p.m., we drop it on YouTube if you want to have the video as well. MLS All-Star Game presented by Target going down on Wednesday. Coverage starts on FS1 and Univision at 9 p.m. Eastern. I think the game's at 9:30. And then you also have the Skills Challenge going down on Tuesday, which Ricardo Pepi will be a part of. That is at 9 p.m. Eastern, FS1 and TUDN in the U.S., TSN and TVA Sports in Canada. That is presented by AT&T. And then if you're in L.A., you want to see Ketranada, which you should. He's an incredible DJ. Or Big Boy, legend in the game. The MLS All-Star concert presented by Heineken's on Tuesday night. I think tickets are $15. I think they're still available. You could literally go from Skills Challenge straight to the concert. That sounds like a pretty good Tuesday night.
It's right there.
Like right behind us.
Hence all the construction.
Any thoughts on Pepi from you guys in the AT&T 5G virtual studio before we roll into the mailbag?
Seems like a sweet kid. Like he just seemed like a really nice kid, and it's like, come on, man, you're a striker. Should be a bit of an a-hole. And he didn't have any of that in him. Besides, I think he needs to spend a little more time around certain other people. To get him that Erling. I mean, he said I watch Erling Haaland. Like that dude does not come across as a sweet kid. So yeah.
What you're saying is drive across town, hang out with Carlos Ruiz for a little while, and then we'll get him to where he needs to be.
Carlos Ruiz is the perfect example of that, right? Because Carlos Ruiz, and he is friend of the show. He's one of the all-time best interviews on the show, and like a truly decent dude. And then you see him on the field, and he's a nightmare. Like, so yeah, hang out with Carlos Ruiz a little bit.
The way Carlos Ruiz justifies it, like he explains you the story, he's like, hey, he comes up to me, Fish, why don't you pass me the ball? No, I'm a goal scorer, so it's my job to score. It's your job to not talk to me. And then you're like, whoa, dude. And then he's the nicest person over the course of 45 minutes.
Well, and I think what he said about maturity is interesting to me, Ricardo, in the sense that, we're kind of grilling him in a joking way about his future and about this big decision that he has to make. And the way that he handled that, but also the amount of pressure that I have to imagine is on his shoulders. And his ability to perform and thrive and grow and respond to moments like this that most 18-year-olds, teenagers, most adults will never be in, where they have the interests of thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of people in their future in the decision that they're making, and what is a very personal decision.
Yeah, but
so,
Wiebe, when you look at,
I'm very impressed by that.
Yeah, I'm impressed as well, but you almost can't get a harder decision when you're facing this. These are good problems he has now, but you can't get a harder decision than leaving your family at 13 in El Paso and moving to Frisco, right? Sure. Like his mom's calling him every day, what he just said on the phone. Like, you want to talk about maturity? That's a way you grow up very fast. And if you look at FC Dallas as well and the way they bring through players in the player pipeline, Pepi's the first kid to go all the way through and take that entire path from the affiliate program in El Paso to the academy, then to North Texas through the USL, and then to the first team. And so he's really followed that he's the model because he followed every single step for them. And that's why you get a mature kid like that who can take those answers and understands the right things to say. And I don't think these questions are going to be that hard for him to answer. And we've talked a lot about, look at, Tejan and Turner and all these different players that are maybe rumored to be going abroad. Pepi is the best prospect in MLS as far as his age goes, his profile, his position, and his potential right now. So I think his transfer fee might be the biggest of them all.
And he said he's an 8, which is another sort of example.
No, he
was an 8. He was an 8. To just not, we get in a hurry, I think, sometimes.
No, but this is why.
To judge players, to profile players, to say this is what you are and what you can be. And maybe we just got to have a little bit more patience and faith.
So the flip side is actually, this is why academies matter, because the job of his coach wasn't to win games. It was to produce the best players. And so that's an environment where you can look at players and say, well, what are your attributes? Hey, George Bellow, you're the best 10 on this team, but I actually think you're a left back at the highest level. So let's work on that. And that's the same for Pepi. It's the same for a lot of these guys, which is the shift that we're seeing is – now in academy setups and MLS Next and all of that, you have coaches with that foresight because their job is to work within the pro structure of that team.
And they have the understanding of the pro structure to say this is where actually in that environment you'll thrive, as opposed to being like, I'm a youth coach, never seen that environment, don't have any idea what it's like, where you will profile as well. Let's hit the mailbag 401-2060-MLS. Extra time at MLSsoccer.com. It's been a blast doing this live from the 2021 MLS All-Star Game presented by Target here in Los Angeles. You know it. I've said it many times. I will say it again because please, everybody, just watch this game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be new and different. It's the start of something. It really, truly is. 9 p.m. Eastern, coverage starts. FS1 Univision, Tuesday, Skills Challenge presented by AT&T. I'm jacked up. I'm ready to go. Let's hit this mailbag and go get some lunch. Tacos on the menu, baby.
So this is a first-time, long-time email. It's from Scott Osborne, but I'm going to assume it's actually from Inter Miami.
Like the club?
This is the first time.
Like the spirit? What?
I assume they've listened to our show for a while, and this is the first time we're getting a positive email about the play on the field from an Inter Miami perspective. And he says, given the home form recently from the Herons, I have to think positively given all the negative vibes thus far and look at the schedule with a favorable eye. While the last 2 games may be difficult, although New England at that point might be testing players, the majority of games coming up are against teams near Inter in the standings. Is it conceivable that Inter Miami may be in the playoff hunt, hopefully not dead in the water like the Dynamo, according to John?
Why do you got to take a shot at the Dynamo out of that? Like, where did that come from?
Because Charlie just took out a hatchet on Thursday on a random segment and just laid teams to waste.
That's rough. I was ready to dive in on.
We have more Dynamo stuff as well. So dive in on Inter Miami.
The thing I would say
it's a playoff run
team. They've responded really well. I think the turning point if you look back on it, if there is a turning point and they do sort of make a late season run to get up the table and they do have these 2 games in hand, was that 5-0 loss to New England. And after that match, I believe at this point in the season, they hadn't won a single home game, which, this was getting to July at this point. And since then, I think they've won 4 games at home. Now, if you look at them, you can say, all right, well, they were against Chicago this past weekend, against Toronto. Those are 2 teams that haven't had great seasons, but neither had Inter Miami. And if you beat the teams around you, that's going to knock you up a bit and give you a chance where they're at 11th place, but they're within striking distance now. 7 teams make the playoffs, so they're within striking distance. And then the other wins they have are against Montreal, who's a playoff team right now. We'll see if that holds. And then Nashville, who has been much improved and is, I believe, near the top of the Eastern Conference. So,
which is so weird. Nashville is only 4 points ahead of Montreal. I just checked. The Eastern Conference is weird outside of New England right now. It's all packed
now.
up.
Do I think that Inter Miami will ultimately make the playoffs? No, I do not. I don't think that they will be able to carry this form or consistency looking ahead. And they have just not been able to get – the main reason actually is more about them not being able to get goals. I think they have the second least goals in MLS, just above Austin. And yes, there is a little bit signs of hope with Pizarro getting goals, I think, in consecutive matches, 2 in the last one, and Robbie Robinson also finding goals back-to-back. That's big, but it's still been too much on Higuain. I don't think he's the one necessarily to be able to really lift everybody with him. And I just think that this team is still
What
limited.
about Chilean national team striker?
Yeah, that's
Riley
the thing.
Robinson?
With Robinson and Morgan, sort of flanking Higuain, and now Pizarro's playing pretty well. I mean, he has played pretty well. It's been a chance creation. Like Higuain, when he has gotten his chances, he has been pretty good. But he's also had to do the bulk of the chance creation, and then the structure behind that attack has just been dog water all year. And as you said, Calen, since that 5-0 loss to the Revs, it's looked a lot better. Part of it is getting some guys healthy. Part of it, I think, was giving Gregory the armband and saying this team does not actually belong to Blas Matuidi or Pizarro or Higuain. This 26-year-old Brazilian D-mid who we just signed, he's the leader of this team. And it seems like throughout the roster, everybody's responded, including the veterans, and they should be praised for that. They're still 5 points below the playoff line. It's still going to take a lot to get them above the playoff line. That said, it's just 5 points. It's just 5 points, and it's not like Montreal or DC are running away from them. Somebody in the Eastern Conference has a chance to make a hell of a run down the stretch here, and Miami's got a lot of talent to do it.
It will be interesting. I think Gregory's suspended on yellow cards for the Orlando game this weekend. It'll just be interesting to see what this team looks like without him. Let's move to the Western Conference playoff race, because the coolest moment from the weekend was Vancouver Whitecaps after 539 days finally getting to come home, play a home game in front of their fans, and then they beat LAFC. Jared from Thunder Bay sent this email.
Whoa. From Thunder Bay?
Hell yeah.
Oh, my God.
Canada, baby. Shout out to the Maple
Thunder
Leafs.
Bay.
I think he sent this before the game.
Lightning Island.
I think he sent this before the game. But he said, as a huge Whitecaps fan, it brings me great joy that Charlie Davies last Thursday was at least partially wrong when he said everyone beats the Caps earlier this season. What are your thoughts on the Whitecaps at the time 7-game, but I think now 8-game unbeaten streak, and how do they keep it going?
I'm going to throw this to Doyle in a second, but I just want to say that we asked Commissioner Garber about Messi. We have Messi in MLS. We have the Scottish Messi in MLS. And he's handling business, baby. Doyle, the Caps are one of your penny stocks. Give us your thoughts on them. We're going to get out of here. My favorite part of the show so far is that Anders, right before you read that email, said, we have to wrap. There's no time left. And you absolutely
I didn't even see it.
Looked him up. You Carlos Ruized him. You were like, who are you? I don't even know who
Gio
you
Reyna
are,
ignoring the overlap.
Is Anders even here?
Exactly.
No, the Caps have done really, really well in the last couple of transfer windows. Very under the radar, and obviously Ryan Gault is getting most of the spotlight here, as he should, because he is really, really good. But that team has a lot more talent than I think people realize, and now it's at Marc Dos Santos' feet. He finally has some stability, he finally has depth, and he finally has talent. It's up to him to put the right team out there every week and choose a formation, please, I'm begging you, and stick with it. Choose some principles of play and stick with it, and maybe push up into the playoff race in the West. Again, it's even more of a lift for the Caps than what we were talking about with Inter Miami, but they're a lot closer to being able to do it than I think they were 2 months ago.
All right, that's it for us here from Los Angeles. We are here, of course, for the MLS All-Star Game presented by Target. That's on Wednesday. Coverage, 9 p.m. Eastern, starting on FS1 and Univision. I think the game's at 9:30, as I've said. You're probably like, yeah, I heard you, Wiebe. Like, I got it. I understand. But I'm just trying to make sure. Skills Challenge, presented by AT&T, goes down on Tuesday. FS1, TUDN, TSN, TVA, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can watch that one live. It was epic, amazing, incredible, memorable, all of the things wrapped up into one in Orlando. We'll see if it is the same in Los Angeles. I think this format's going to be really fun. It's new and improved. All the setup, all the props, way better. I've seen them. More games, more players involved. The rivalry, MLS, Liga MX. That's what this week is all about. Big thanks to our guests here, Mikel Ariola, president of Liga MX, of course, MLS Commissioner Don Garber, to Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, Matt Turner, Ricardo Pepi, all for stopping by. It's been a great day here from MLS Media Day. That's it from us, but biggest thanks go out to you, who watch either live or on demand 2+ hours of us doing what we love, which is BSing about this league, about the events therein, about the news. Shout out to the Black Forest and Tajon Buchanan. We're out of here. We will see you on Thursday, everybody. We're going to record in a hotel room just for old time's sake. Might invite Bobby Warshaw. Make sure he has a good night after All-Star. Feed him some breakfast. We'll see you then.